Who sings that again?
It's Christopher something, is it?
No, it's not.
What do you call him?
It's Mike Christopher.
Oh, that was close. Forgot his first name. Come here, you're not having burgers the day after yesterday.
No.
The day before yesterday.
Yesterday.
You cooked 2 burgers and they blocked up your sink. I heard all about it.
You want to see it?
And I do believe you.
But I still don't know if that goes into your system, like. But
could you not speak to somebody, get somebody on about that healthy
I will
diet?
do. I keep these things in the side of my head, in my head. Like, your body probably processes it, isn't it?
But not as much as that, because I got my sister, she used to use the George Foreman, so I invested the money in it.
Back in the day?
I bought one, but you do see the amount of fat that comes out of these burgers.
The George Foreman would still retain some of the fat of the burger.
Would it?
Would I? Because it's.
Do you think the air fryer? Because you mentioned the air fryer. Thank God for the air fryer and all this.
Yeah.
Do you think it retains it or it gets rid of it?
Well, everything falls out of the burger. It sits on a tray.
So why wouldn't it fall out of the George Foreman?
I don't know. I think it still cooks in it. You're sealing it in top and bottom.
But it's on a slope. The stuff runs out.
It's still better. George Foreman made a fortune out of that. Do you remember Hulk Hogan?
I do. What did he do?
He was originally approached to be the face of the George Foreman grill.
Was he? He turned it down?
It was going to be the Hulk Hogan grill.
Aye, but sure, he's enough money.
Well,
did you ever see did you watch the documentary? Was it the documentary or the film, the life story of George Foreman? Did you watch that?
No.
I don't know.
I'm not big on those things. There's a couple of them. There's Ronnie O'Sullivan, one I'd probably be more inclined to watch.
And the snooker one.
Yeah.
Is there one out for Ronnie O'Sullivan?
There is, yeah.
I must watch that.
And it's supposed to be very good, actually. He's a complex character.
Yeah, but he's talented as well. Do you know he's going the distance, isn't he?
Amazingly talented.
Yeah, he's
the oldest and youngest world champion ever. He's the oldest and youngest Masters champion. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
He won it the youngest and he won it the oldest.
Do you remember the time he did the 147 break, the quickest time ever?
Never be beaten. Yeah.
God, that was amazing.
4 minutes and 36
it was so wicked,
seconds.
but it was so gripping, wasn't it? It was like that start match a while back last week.
You'd miss it.
Yeah, I better let you go.
Anyway, that's the story.
Let me know how you get on with the
fryer.
burgers, will
However
you?
you end up talking about Ronnie O'Sullivan after you talking about an air fryer.
But listen to me, because I have burgers in the freezer, right? And I'm wondering, should I defrost them or give it a go, or what do you think?
What do you mean?
No, but you can find out about the burgers, the best way to cook them, and fat in them.
Well, I've just told you, in the air fryer.
No, but find out for fact.
No, it's a fact. That is a fact. It's just whether or not you can.
Get a few texts in now.
That you eat does you any harm. Anyway, listen, I will find out for you, Lee. That's what I'm here for.
Good man.
All right, it is the 9 till noon show. 2 minutes past 9. Let's get a news update. Hello, Donna Marie Doherty.
Good morning, Greg. A fire service representative told Letterkenny Milford Municipal District this week that Uisce Éireann have been briefed on the urgent need to clear a blocked hydrant at Long Lane outside of the site of a house fire in December. However, he could not state whether that work has been done. Councillors Jerry McMonigal and Jimmy Kavanagh had both motions before the meeting calling for a comprehensive programme. This is to check hydrant markings and access. They were told the fire service currently carries out examinations and then reports any issues to Uisce Éireann. Both Councillor McMonigal and Councillor Kavanagh says there needs to be government clarification on where responsibility for inspections lie. Councillor Kavanagh successfully proposed the council formally write to the Minister seeking that clarification.
I think that we need this clarified by the Minister, because from talking to other councillors in other areas of the country as well, the same issue seems to arise on a regular basis with fire hydrants, as there's not really a process there for checking them properly. And as you know, when you find a faulty one, it could be too late in terms of 2 or 3 minutes lost in a really grave situation. So it's important that we get that clarity, and I think the best way to go about that is to ask the Minister about it.
Landmark reforms on the child maintenance system are being brought before the Dáil today. Over 16,000 lone parents are expected to benefit from the changes, including the exclusion of maintenance payment from the social welfare means test for the first time. It means parents on reduced pay rates will see their payments increase, and others will now qualify for a payment. It will cost around €10 million per year. Gardaí in Donegal say people should only travel if it's necessary, as roads around the county remain in treacherous condition. They urge the public to stay safe and check in on vulnerable neighbours, family members and friends. A national low temperature alert is in place until midday as the latest cold snap continues, and a yellow alert for snow is in place in Donegal until 11 a.m. Planned ESB network outages in Donegal are not going ahead today. Outages were to take place in Letterkenny and St Johnstone to allow works to go ahead. ESB say these will be rearranged for a future date and apologise for any inconvenience caused. Looking out to the local forecast, very cold today with frost, ice and fog slow to clear, lingering in some spots through the day. A dry and sunny start with scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow will spread across North Ulster through the afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures of just 1 to 5 degrees in a light northwest breeze. That's all for now. Back again at 10 o'clock. Good morning.
Was that milk still in date? I was muted on that call, wasn't I? Am I after losing my car keys?
Most things we worry about never happen. And with Liberty Insurance, you can worry less about things that do. Especially when right now you can get a €40 retail voucher if you buy your car insurance with Liberty Online. So you're free to worry about literally anything else.
Did I send that to the entire group chat?
Or not worry at all. Less worry, more liberty. €40 voucher offer is valid for new private car policies only. Purchased before January 31st, 2024. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Liberty Seguros Compañía de Seguros Iria Seguros S.A. Trading as Liberty Insurance is authorized by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pensions Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. 6 minutes past 9, Thursday the 18th of January 2024. How are you all out there across the Northwest and across the world, wherever you're listening or watching the show today? It's great to have you on board. And if you're not in the Northwest of Ireland, we all woke up to a very cold, snowy, crisp but fresh morning here. And it's a snow day for a lot of people. A lot of schools not opening, a lot of buses not running to those schools, hence the schools closing and what have you. And the road's generally quiet this morning. I was on the road a little bit earlier than normal this morning just to ensure I got here. I have to say, we're kind of lucky in the south of the county in that from Lahey to Letterkenny, no bother at all. The gritters out, they did a brilliant job. Get into Letterkenny, not so, still slippy and slushy and slidey. I would still be cautious wherever I go. But last night, what about last night? So many people, particularly it seemed around Letterkenny and other urban areas, it was chaos. There were buses having to go through Lifford because they couldn't go up Lurgy Brack because there was 4 lorries jammed up there, and Long Lane, there was cars sliding all over the place. Ron Road was terrible. There was cars stuck at the bottom of the main street, up the main street, around the main street. Were you out and about in it? What did you observe? Is there anything you want to talk about or pass on in relation to that? Well, that and all the other issues of the day to WhatsApp and text 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. If you're outside the Republic, it's 00353 86 25, 60, 25,000. You know it. Just drop the O and put 00353. You think in this day and age, and I'm sorry I've said it before, but maybe not for a year. What's all this international dialing nonsense? But anyway, it is what it is. We want to hear from you wherever you are today. And if you're travelling through or in Northern Ireland, be extra cautious today because the roads are bad. The difference between the north and the south today is there's very little road maintenance ongoing. As you might well be aware, one of the, if not the biggest strike is taking place in Northern Ireland today. We're going to talk about that a little later on. But if you are travelling on the roads, there are only a couple of them that are treated. I think 4 routes minorly treated. So just be extra careful. Is there any information you want us to pass on, by the way? Please feel free to do so. Send it in to us. We'll pass that on. And also to invite you, if you want to watch the show, maybe you have a snow day and you're not normally home when we're on air, you can watch us on your big screen TV. If it's a smart TV, as most are now at this stage, you'll have the YouTube app on it. Or if you have your Fire Stick or your Google TV, open the YouTube app, stick in Highland Radio Ireland. You can watch us on your big screen. Take us with you on those apps on your mobile devices, or we're streaming live too on Facebook, Highland Hub, Highland Radio News and Sport. Let's go to the Tyrconnell Tribune. With the New Year deadline now passed to cull up to 41,000 in-calf cows, political and dairy sources say they're continuing to monitor how farmers affected by the nitrates directive have fared and at what cost. Joe Sweeney, chair of Donegal IFA, says the cut from 250 kilograms of nitrates per hectare to a level of 220 from the start of January has forced farmers to reduce animal numbers or increase the amount of land they have. The third alternative was to export slurry to another holding with increased capacity. He said numbers of farmers have been forced to lease or buy more ground to retain their existing herd number, and this is coming at a very high price. In some instances, it's not affordable and poses a real threat to keep younger generations in farming. The Donegal News this morning, after a collaborative cross-community campaign and much criticism, there is optimism for the retention of counselling services for children and adolescents in Donegal. A crunch meeting between the Child and Family Agency, TUSLA, and Rafo Diocesan Pastoral Services took place on Tuesday in a bid to maintain the vital services. A statement issued by TUSLA yesterday evening said, "We are committed to working with Rafo Diocesan Pastoral Services to maintain the important counselling services they provide to communities across Donegal and to support the organisation going forward." That all being said, they didn't meet with the head of, the gentleman in question, his name just escapes me at the moment, didn't meet with the head of those services at all. It was a very, very brief meeting. And there is one line in that statement which jumps out at me, and I am going to be seeking further clarity on it. I'm just trying to get to it here now. God, there was a lot of road stuff I posted last night. I didn't realise that. Okay, we will also look at how existing funding can be utilised to continue to provide essential supports. So that's what came from that statement. That's what jumped out at me. We will also look at how existing funding can be utilised to continue to provide essential supports. That's what they said in their initial press release. It's extra funding and extra supports that are needed. Also, if you read through the press release, Jerry Hone, Regional Chief Officer with the Northwest TUSLA, he is quoted extensively in that. He never met with the head of the service at all. But if you read the press release, you'd think he did. But anyway, I want to get an update on that to see if there is some room for hope. They're talking about it, but as I say, that one critical existing funding, how it can be utilised to continue the service, that's where we were at 2 or 3 days ago. So I'm not sure if things have moved on at all, but open to correction and open to hope. The Derry News this morning, Derry holds the record for the highest number of media gagging anonymity orders requested for defendants in drug-related court cases, Derry News can reveal. Between 2019 and 23, there were 329 anonymity or reporting restriction orders granted in courts across the north. Of those, 292 were in Derry and 5 were in Strabane. In comparison, 17 anonymity orders were granted in Laganside courts in Belfast, while there were fewer than 5 each granted in Newtownards, Antrim, Coleraine, Limavady, Ballymena and Dungannon. I presume they are there to protect parties from vigilante law, so to speak. I presume that's why they're being issued out. I'm not sure if it's a good or a bad thing because I don't know enough about it, but I would imagine that is precisely why they are being given out. The Irish Times this morning, Northern Ireland will come to an unprecedented standstill today as up to 170,000 public sector workers take part in the largest strike in Northern Ireland in generations. Members from 17 trade unions, including nurses, midwives, bus and train drivers, teachers and ambulance staff, are involved in the 24-hour industrial action, which has closed schools, suspended public transport and cut healthcare provision to emergencies only, and of course has damaged the gritting programme. We'll talk about that a little later on in the show. If you're one of those workers, if you want to explain to us why you're having this strike, maybe some of you might feel like a pawn in the leveraging the British government is placing on the DUP. The DUP would argue that this money could be given to pass on to the staff without devolved government. But anyway, it is a caveat that is there in place. If you want to talk about that, if you're calling us from the north, it's 00353 7491 25,000. So yesterday too, it was mentioned by government, and it was in the papers, as to the 10 places that have the most refugees, asylum seekers, IPAS, whatever phraseology you choose to use, would get money, throw money at it. We didn't really know what that might look like, but this is what it looks like. Delivery here. I would love to see the KPIs on this. We'll need key performance indicators. But anyway, apparently extra nurses in GP practices, more reserve Gardaí and additional English language teachers for schools are some of the options on the table as part of a new package of state supports for areas which have taken the most migrants. GPs may receive more staff. such as nursing assistants or other roles filled by locum workers under some of the proposals being discussed. Schools could be in line for extra English language teachers as well as additional coordinators who are tasked with finding school places for children and supporting schools to meet the needs of these children. The provisions of additional reserve Gardaí is also on the table. The Garda numbers approach 15,000. Taoiseach Leo Varadkar asked government departments to come up with possible measures that can be put in place across the 10 regions nationwide which have taken in the most migrants since the invasion of Ukraine. Any teachers out there, you're not at school today, would more teachers fix the problems that we're talking of? If you're a GP listening, perhaps, or work in a GP practice, do you see extra nurses coming to Donegal through this government initiative? And also, too, are we likely to see more Gardaí? There's a lot of problems with the Guards, you see, and you have to dig into this stuff a little bit. Obviously, there was a big furore about policing in Dublin. So they got out the kitty and put €10 million in extra resources to have extra Gardaí in Dublin. That money's run out now and it hasn't been replaced. So that issue, that problem-solving move has now sort of run out, so to speak. So they're going to take those guards and move them to the top 10 counties with the most migrants, including Donegal. Would that be enough for you? I don't know. The Irish Daily Mail, Minister Heather Humphreys has rebuked those protesting outside asylum centres, questioning how they can demonstrate in the middle of the day when everyone else is working. The Fine Gael TD also insisted that immigration has been good for Ireland and is helping to pay for pensions, with PRSI contributions from foreign nationals amounting to €3 billion per annum. The Social Protection Minister, her robust defence of immigration policy follows mounting pressure on government after weeks of protests and a series of arson attacks on properties earmarked as accommodation for those seeking asylum. Also inside this paper today, more speculation on a plum European job. And Charlie McConalogue's name's been chucked back into the mix again. The race for Ireland's next European Commissioner is firmly between two Fianna Fáil cabinet ministers, the Irish Daily Mail has learned. The contest for the €248,000 job is between Agriculture Minister Charlie McConalogue and, would you believe it, Housing Minister Darragh O'Brien. Ireland will nominate a new commissioner following the European elections in June. The current office holder is Fine Gael MEP Mairead McGuinness, who holds the financial services portfolio. Now, Ivan Yates was on the show. He says they're looking for a woman, but clearly, according to the Mail, that's not the case. Charlie McConalogue not entertaining the speculation. He says it's idle speculation, but they speculate, be it as it may. Mr McConalogue, a TD for Donegal, is viewed as the favourite to replace her, with his possible departure promoting the political re-emergence of party veteran Pat the Cope Gallagher, who lost his Dáil seat in 2020. Mr McConalogue has a fight on his hands in the area in the next general election, with the mica crisis in particular having cost him support locally. Were he to depart for Brussels, a seasoned campaigner like Pat the Cope Gallagher would be a prime candidate to replace him. Now, that would be... I don't see how that strategy works. I think maybe if they had a two-candidate strategy, but maybe there are other people that could run in place in an Inishone. Anyway, the Irish Farmers Journal this morning, private agricultural advisors have been told by the Agricultural Consultants Association to down tools this week in protest over what they say are unmanageable knowledge transfer scheme deadlines. The ACA has written to the Department of Agriculture seeking more leniency with the terms and conditions of the scheme. By the 31st of March, advisors must have completed all one-to-one KT meetings with farmers, which are the last 2 hours each. But they are limited to hosting just 2 meetings per day. So that might make sense to you if you're waiting on one of those meetings. On to the Irish Daily Star now. Thruples, that's 3 people in a marriage, if you don't mind, as if one's not enough, says you. Thruples and those in polygamous relationships will not be given constitutional protection if a referendum on expanding the definition of a family passes, Roderick O'Gorman has stated. The Equality Minister made the comments as the debate on the upcoming referendum got underway in the Dáil yesterday afternoon. On March 8th, citizens will be asked to vote in several referenda. One focuses on removing a clause in the Constitution that implies a woman's place is in the home. It will also expand the Constitution protection of families to those in durable relationships. Now, I'm not a constitutionalist. I don't really know how Roderick O'Gorman can answer that question, because obviously, the Constitution is laid out, and then, there are test cases or challenges in the courts that perhaps could see protections extended to thruples and those in polygamous relationships. I don't think the Constitution can be read just as such. Someone could take a challenge and say, well, I believe that the wording of the Constitution permits such and such, and then that really determines what the actual law is, doesn't it? Again, maybe someone out there is more of a constitutionalist than me, but I actually don't really feel how Roderick O'Gorman can fully give that commitment. The Star tells us that Irish beef exports to China are to resume as part of measures agreed during the bilateral meeting of senior government figures. Li Qiang, the second most powerful man in China, met the Taoiseach during a brief diplomatic visit yesterday. The president shaking hands with China, and that's fine, that's up to him. But I wonder, does the president know what's going on in China? Does he know about the prison camps? Does he know about the religious cleansing that's going on over there? Or do we just turn a blind eye because we post some meat out there, we send some meat out there? We are kind of morally questionable, aren't we? Like, Russia bad, China good. And I'm not saying that's not the case. But I wonder, did he take the opportunity to talk to China about how it treats its people over there? Its attitude towards Taiwan. No, we'll shake hands with you because we'll get to sell you some beef, and that's fine. And is that how the world goes round? The Sun this morning, the HSE and a GP have apologised before the High Court over the treatment provided to a young boy after he swallowed a button battery, and these are really dangerous. I'm sure there's people out there listening today that the screw didn't go in, or one was left lying around and kids put them in their mouths. Aaron Sikorsky was only 13 months old when he swallowed the battery while playing at home. The court heard it was 9.5 days before a chest x-ray was carried out, despite Aaron being taken to the GP and the ED at Galway University Hospital. And they can do really quite severe damage in terms of burning in the throat or stomach or what have you. I think it's particularly if it sticks in the craw, so to speak. Anyway, compensation was paid. Okay, good morning to Rosemary. Pedro, Dolores, travelling to Sligo. Take care, Dolores. I think really once you get out of Letterkenny, it's not too bad as long as you drive safe. Beth, Charlie, Paul, Michael, all listening, all watching the show across our social media platforms. Keep us busy in Radio Land as well. WhatsApps and text to 08660 25,000 or call us on 07491 25,000.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra Mountaintop Letterkenny, the C-Store National Large Forecourt of the Year for 2022.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Well, Grace, how are you today?
I'm good. I've just been down to the Made to Measure Fireplaces showroom in Creasla. They have an incredible selection of over 40 colours for kitchen worktops. And guess what? For a limited time, they're offering a 40% discount on any electric fire when you purchase a worktop there.
40%? That's an amazing deal, Grace.
Absolutely. And trust me, if the discount alone doesn't sway you, their huge selection of fireplaces, stoves, wood pellet burners, beams and stone cladding certainly will.
Contact Made to Measure Fireplaces Creasla on 074 91 38 365 on Facebook, Instagram and on mtmfireplaces.ie.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonahur Road, Donegal Town.
Cervical Check provides free cervical screening for women aged 25 to 65. HPV cervical screening is one of the best ways to reduce your risk of developing cervical cancer in the future. If you're due your cervical screening, don't delay. Make an appointment today. For information and to check you're on the register, visit hsc.ie/cervical check or free phone 1-800 45 45 55. From the HSE.
Hi, Teresa Mannion here with a road safety alert. In snow and icy conditions, slow down and leave extra distance between you and the vehicle in front. Avoid harsh braking and acceleration. Use the highest gear possible to avoid wheel spin. Select a low gear when travelling downhill. from the Road Safety Authority.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
Okie doke, the time now is 9:24 and we are going to be talking now about school safety, and we're going to go to Glenties. Hugh Doyle is chaplain and coordinator of the Students' Council in St Columba's Comprehensive School in Glenties and is with us now. Good morning to you, Hugh. Thank you for your time.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay, Hugh. Now, what is the situation at St Columba's?
Well, we've recently had a new school crossing installed there by Donegal County Council, so we're very happy about that now. We've been campaigning for a couple of years now through our student council, and with two members of the student council on here as well to take you through that process if you wish.
Yeah, for sure. Lucy McFadden. Good morning to you, Lucy.
Hello.
And Jade Gallagher is there as well. Hi, Jade.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. I'll stay with you, Jade. So there's a crossing there now. What's the problem?
So it was brought to our attention by our PE teacher that it's just the road is too dangerous to cross to go to our football pitch to play football and PE. So I'll pass it to Lucy because Lucy was the main person in this. So.
All right, go ahead, Lucy. No one wants to speak to me. It's Hugh to Jade to Lucy, but come on, Lucy, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I reached out to our local councillors, Pierce Doherty, Anthony Malloy and Mary Tress Gallagher, and it was around the start of the year, in the school year in 2021, and we just kind of all emailed back and forth, and there was a few bumps of the road because there was new infrastructure personnel being assigned to the area, so we had to kind of get over that, and then there was more emailing, but kind of by the time we got back to school this year, it seemed to all have fit into place. So it seemed like no time, and the work was on, it was all happening, and it took a while, but now the zebra crossing's there and you can really see the benefits.
And it's really the real story for me here isn't it, that you took this issue on yourselves and made all the contacts and delivered it for the students.
Yeah, well, yeah, we work together. All our meetings, we would kind of discuss what we're going to talk about next in the email, and how we're going to keep pushing forward with it, because at the start it didn't seem like it was really going to go anywhere. It just seemed like we were emailing for nothing, but then eventually the more we worked with it, the more it the ball started to get rolling, and it's happened now.
Yeah, brilliant. And Hugh, isn't it a credit to the students, and I think it really sets young people up for life, doesn't it? Learning how these systems works, how you get about achieving what you want to, coming together, campaigning, discussion. I think it's really a useful educational exercise as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. I suppose the thing is student councillors can get despondent, if they don't hear back from whoever they're contacting, and they can maybe give up. But the thing about the student council in Glenties Comp is that they kept going with this issue and with a number of other issues, and it may take a number of years, but eventually if they keep at it, they actually saw the fruits of their labour, and as Lucy said, it happened really quick in the end. We had a site visit in May of last year with the workers on site then in September, and the work was completed there just last month in December 23. So we were delighted. We were delighted that a really concrete issue like this actually happened.
And Jade, also, obviously we've talked about the crossing, but there's double yellow lines discouraging people from parking on footpaths and what have you. There's a whole raft of safety measures that have taken place here, Jade.
Yeah, no, the students have reaped the benefits 100%. We just feel more safer crossing the road, and it's great.
Yeah, and I saw some pictures, Lucy. I'm not sure your age, if you're familiar with the old with the old Beatles album cover of them crossing a road in London.
I know I do.
It's not quite like that, but it kind of put me in mind of it, if that makes sense.
No, now you say it, yeah, it does actually.
How important, Lucy, is the council, the student council, and feeding into democracy through that? Because it's something that's grown over the last year, and with me being a job like this, I've kind of seen it grown and spoke to lots of different people involved at this level, and they do get things done. Because if you didn't, you could get very frustrated and say, "What's the point?" So, what do you see as the benefits of being involved in the student council at the school?
I love it. I love being given the chance to kind of voice my word on everything that's happening in the school, and like just having a chance to change things, like issues like this. Like I loved being given the opportunity to do it, like because I think it's so important, because students don't necessarily, they won't bring every issue to the teachers. They'll more so come to people like us that they think that they can like speak to on like the same level as us. So like when we get told the issues from them, we can then take it to the meetings with Mr. Doyle, and then we can actually change the things that the students want, not necessarily just the teachers want. So I think it's good that like there's it's at a student level too, that we can kind of all have conversations about it.
Yeah, and that's a two-way street, isn't it, Hugh? Because you have to sort of have it set up in the school where the students' voice is heard and feels heard, and they're supported in campaigns such as this, as I say. So it's great them having a voice, but the school also have to have the ears, which they're doing very well as well.
Yeah, we obviously have to listen to the students, but I think it's a real good learning for the student councillors that they engage with Mr. Mahoney and the principal, and they he can tell them like, well, this is possible, this might be possible, and so on, so even there yesterday we had a consultation on the new TY enrolment policy. So every new policy in the school has to be consulted with the student council. So there's always feedback going back and forward between the student council and the management, and they meet once a year with the board of management as well. So I think it's really good for the students to learn, they need certain things, they want certain things. How do we go about getting that in the most kind of efficient way? How do we work with, the powers that be to achieve our goals?
All right, and Jade too, there's a nice element to this as well, in that in years to come, you and the rest of the council will be able to say, and if you ever have children, they'll probably be sick you saying to them, I did that, it was us did that. But it's not just for the current batch of students, it's a safer environment for future students as well, Jade, which I would say is quite satisfying.
Yeah, no, it's great that we have the chance to influence these younger students, because that's all we need. We need to build a future for the school, and I'm sure loads more things could be done at the school that we would have just made the younger students more confident to even go for a position in the student council. Okay. And it would just be great.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and looking back on it when we're older, we'll always laugh about it.
Indeed, and now it's over to the motorists to respect it now and to realise that there is a different layout there when they're approaching. Okay, brilliant, and fair play to the powers that be too, that also worked very quickly on this. It's been lovely talking to you, Lucy McFadden. Thank you very much for your time, and Jade Gallagher. It's been lovely chatting to you. Hugh Doyle, chaplain and coordinator of the Students' Council at St Columba's Comprehensive School, Glentis. Is open today, Hugh?
No, unfortunately, we had to close due to the road conditions, Greg. So I'm talking to you from Creasla.
Okay, very good. That would have been a tight journey for you now. All right, then, so we'll stay safe. Enjoy the day off if you can. I'm sure you still have stuff to do. But anyway, that's Hugh Doyle, Lucy McFadden, Jade Gallagher. Back with more after a break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Despite low temperatures and high energy costs, it's important everyone stays warm and well through the colder months. It's also important to understand that saving energy where possible saves money and helps reduce the impact on our climate. Simple steps can make a big difference, like turning down the thermostat by 1 degree, limiting the use of high-energy appliances like tumble dryers, or ensuring we don't heat rooms that aren't in use. Government is playing its part too, making a range of supports available to help ease the burden on families across the country. For support and advice, visit gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Farm Advisors Down Tools. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Thousands of farmers could be left in the lurch as advisors set to strike in row with department. Boost as Irish beef back in the menu in China. Derogation farmers secure last-minute concessions. Farmers warned against dumping valuable slurry. Low TAMS approvals halt farm building works. How to get the best price for your calves this spring. Plus, don't miss our guide to CAO changes, agriculture courses and new apprenticeships.
Only inside the Irish Farmers Journal. On sale now.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
The life of a Charlie's chip is never dull. Once they're selected, they're off to Charlie's, where they lose the jacket, have a nice wash, and once they get into shape and get ready, out they go to meet the public, side by side with a nice burger, some fish or chicken. Enjoy Charlie's Chips to sit in or take away daily from 12 to 8 at Pierce Road, Letterkenny. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's.
Newly engaged and planning your wedding? If so, the Villa Rose and Jackson's Dual Wedding Showcase takes place on Saturday, January 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. Come along and view both stunning wedding venues and meet the dedicated wedding teams at Villa Rose and Jackson's Ballybuffet.
Now, as you would have heard, nurses, teachers, civil servants and thousands more are on strike across Northern Ireland today. There have been several strikes in Northern Ireland in recent times, but this could be one of the biggest in years, if not the biggest. But why is it happening and what's being affected? Well, hopefully now, well, I'm sure actually, in fact, journalist Anton McCabe will be able to help answer some of those questions. Anton, thank you very much for joining us.
No problem at all, Greg, and thank you very much.
No, and you're speaking to us actually from a picket line at County Hall in Omagh. Right, so what services are being disrupted today through this action?
All public services, obviously health, schools are on strike, the civil service, public transport, basically the whole public sector, with the exception of councils, is on strike today.
And what is the core issue here, Anton?
Well, there are really two core issues. There are pay, in that people are due a pay rise, but there's a refusal to pay that. Linked to that as well, there has been a refusal to release monies to properly finance public services in the north, because I am sure that many of your listeners, those who live in the north will have seen it. Those like virtually everybody in Donegal who regularly visit will have seen the decay, the decline of public services in Northern Ireland over the last few years. This also, it means that the workers striking, they are not just striking on their own behalf, seeking pay rises. Very importantly, they are seeking to have proper investment in the public services, so that in many cases that they can have proper staffing levels. Mm-hmm. Particularly in the likes of, in the likes of health, which is not just to their benefit, but to the benefit of every single person in Northern Ireland. Like, this will certainly be the biggest strike in the history of Northern Ireland. There's up to 150,000 workers have walked out. I just have walked across the centre of Omagh today, and we have pickets on whole numbers of public sector buildings in the town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they said, there are pickets right across the town, which is a sight really that has very rarely been seen here.
Now,
in the past.
Yeah, this could have been offset. The UK government, the London government, offered Northern Ireland political parties a funding package of £3.5 billion to return to a functioning executive installment. Within that was £584 million to settle public sector pay claims. Now, it has been linked to the return of a functioning executive installment. I would say there's ways around that. This money could have been delivered without a functioning executive. Is there any anger that workers are being used as something of a pawn, or to being used to put the DUP over a barrel?
Yes, there's a huge amount of anger at that. There's a huge amount of anger that Chris Heaton-Harris could do this. The UK government could do this. But he is trying to use workers as a pawn to put pressure on the DUP. That is obviously shabby in the extreme. If we look at, even within the last few days, the British government Britain has gone to war with the Yemen. This was not even discussed in Parliament, but had the legal power to do so. Thus, Heaton-Harris has the power, and the Sunak government, they have the power to release the funding and to fund, but they are very much playing political games in this matter.
But they have all the cards, do they not? Because no matter what happens in Northern Ireland, it's going to be... will anyone in England care, if you know what I mean? I don't mean that in any way badly. I mean, this is a Northern Irish problem, and I'm not really quite sure, even with all the services closing as they are now, if anyone is going to take any notice in London, because they will say, hey, we've got the money there. All it takes is for them to have a government. It's been so long without a government that people who aren't directly affected by it will say, well, listen, get their act together. The money's sitting there on the table. It's not our problem. So, and it's really only now impacting the people of Northern Ireland. Do you take my point, Anton, that this is not really an issue that's going to bother anyone outside Northern Ireland in Britain?
To a point, yes. But I think this is still very much putting on pressure because ultimately the British government cannot cope with a part of their jurisdiction being closed down by strikes. And actually today what is very important is that the gritter drivers are one of the groups on strike. As you're aware, we have got conditions where very much gritter drivers are needed. This is affecting, so obviously not just, well, it's affecting people, affecting movement in Northern Ireland, but it's actually also affecting many people in the border regions, and particularly Donegal, who are going to be travelling through the north here.
Well, listen, I can tell you we have a far bigger interest in Northern Ireland than the people of Surrey might have, for an example. I take that point. But back to how this is resolved, there's not really a vote that matters for Labour or the Conservatives in Northern Ireland, you could argue. If they were to release this money to settle this strike, they would be caving into the DUP, and the DUPs would feel emboldened in their demands to effectively go back 2-3 years and renegotiate the fallout from Brexit. It's hard for me to see how this gets resolved, especially, and I would maintain that I don't think they'll feel too much political pressure with everything else that's going on, like the Rwanda policy and so on and so forth in London.
Yes, but still we are in a fortunate position in many ways where we are dealing with a weak Tory government which is open to pressure. And we have even seen here in the north, we have seen For example, on the issue of legalising abortion, where the British government went above the heads of the DUP and the other Northern Ireland parties, simply because what was happening was so much of a scandal.
Okay. How long is this strike scheduled to last for? It can't be, really. I'm not sure how it could be escalated.
Well, at the moment, the current strike is to end at midnight. The gritter drivers, they are out until midnight on Tuesday next. Sorry, midnight on Wednesday next. Apologies. And there will be a stepping up of action. In the, a number of the unions intend to not go away, but to step up their action in the weeks to come.
Okay, it's really had a huge effect, obviously, right across society in Northern Ireland. We'll see how things progress going forward. Anton, thank you so much for setting the scene. And I think really, and you painted a picture. What you're seeing in Omagh there, with the pickets out on so many different places, it's borderline unprecedented.
Yes, it is. And I mean, today there is also a march at 12:30 from the Park and Ride on the Crevenor Road, finishing with a rally at 1 o'clock at the courthouse here in the town.
Okay, listen, thanks for the update, Anton. Take care of yourself. Stay warm.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Anton McCabe, there, who is a journalist. Any input into that? 08660 25,000. And as I say, I just don't think the London government really cares too much as to what's going on. But anyway, we shall see. Hi, Greg. Good to see the government going after student accommodation to house migrants. So where will the students go? But sure, you probably think it's a great idea. I don't know why you would say that. Why would you think I think it's a good idea? Give us one reason as to think you might think I've already concluded it's a good idea. Let's just have a chat. We don't have to have a go at each other. Come on and have a chat and tell me what you think about it, rather than just making a comment and then presuming my position on it. Hi, Greg. Can you announce that move to the Beat convoy that was due to start today will be postponed for everyone's safety till next Thursday, the 25th of January? Thanks for updates and announcement, Kira from Fitness LK. More than happy to do that for you, Kira. Will extra funding be given to counselling services, youth clubs, voluntary and community services, as they often help and facilitate immigrants with open arms? Many foreign national children have nowhere safe to play indoors, and I've seen them enjoying a local youth club with smiles on their faces as if it was like Christmas. Some of these children are going through trauma after escaping their country, losing relatives and coming to a foreign land, and now they're stuck in a room with little place to stay. I'm not sure. There's a couple of things that have been announced over the last couple of days. The government running hotels in Rosscray, and money being given to the 10 counties with the most IPAS and refugees. We'll have to see. I can't at this point see, it hasn't been explained how that actually will work. Hi, Greg. Could you get someone on from Donegal County Council in charge of the roads department? Why are the roads so bad? Is it just sand the council lorries are putting on? Only in Ireland, Greg. We can do nothing right in this country in every department. Thanks. The person we'd like to speak to is unavailable today. I think just in terms of snow, I'm not really quite sure what salt and grit does with snow. It's very effective against ice. But if you get like 3 or 4 inches of snow, I'm not really quite sure what salt and grit will do. Of course, then they have to think of the safety of the drivers as well. But I can't answer on the council's behalf. And as I say, we invited someone on to speak to us. Send all the ministers whose seats are in danger in the next election to a cushy number in Brussels. Well, there's also the Senate as well, the Seanad. That's always a handy place to send people if they're deselected. Can you please find out how does the referendum fit into the situation where a child is a member of 2 families, her mums, and their dad's post-separation or divorce? Indeed, I'm not really even sure the wording has been finalised, but we will get right across all of that in the weeks and months ahead. What's the road like from Buncrana to Belfast International Airport? Well, you heard there. Listen, the gritters aren't out. There's some gritting on the M1, the A4, the A3, but it's limited. and you're being asked, the Northern Ireland authorities are saying don't travel unless you have to travel. So that's the only thing I can pass on to you, is that advice. Any report on road conditions of the road from Dunfanaghy to Letterkenny? That comes in from John. If you want to let us know, please do. Back with more after a short break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Harkin Fireplaces in Lifford is lighting up the new year with their massive January yard sale. Discover an impressive selection of fireplaces, stoves, electric fires, gas fires, and elegant kitchen worktops, all on sale. Don't miss out on your perfect fireplace or kitchen worktop at an unbelievable price. Harkin Fireplaces' massive yard sale is now on.
At Citroën, we're a little obsessed with comfort. That's why we created our patented progressive hydraulic cushion suspension system. This Citroën innovation helps filter out surface irregularities like bumps and dips in the road by absorbing them as energy and dissipating them as heat, giving you a driving experience that we call the flying carpet effect. With Citroën, you don't drive, you glide. Book a test glide in a Citroën today. Visit citroen.ie.
January Super Savers at Homeland. Barry's Tea 600 cups only $19.99. Nutrius Complete Nutrition Dog and Cat Food save 20%. Flowgas £75 propane cylinder only $64.99. Regatta Clothing save 20% across all lines. Shop all offers in store and online at homeland.ie. Offers available until January 21st.
Are you a male aged 40 plus? Are you looking after your health? Letterkenny Medics are now offering a full medical check that includes blood pressure, BMI, cardio, respiratory, prostate and testicular checks, blood tests that will check your sugar levels, cholesterol, lipid and bone profiles, with a full aftercare provided including prescriptions or referrals if required. Your health is your wealth. Book an appointment today at letterkennymedics.ie or call 07492 029555. Letterkenny Medics. We listen if you want to talk.
Hi, Nathan Carter here, and I'm delighted to say I've just had 2 installations from Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, and I have to say their attention to detail is second to none. With their sleek design and craftsmanship, your dream kitchen is just a visit away. So why not head over to Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms and let the magic begin.
Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, Donegal Town. More kitchens your way since 1996. Visit cherrymore.ie or call 9725822 to book your free design appointment.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air to water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Very cold today with frost, ice and fog, slow to clear, lingering some places through the day. A dry and sunny start with scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow will spread across the north of the county and region through the afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures of just 1 to 5 degrees in a light northwest breeze. Tomorrow evening, though, things should start to improve, thaw, etc. Though this type of weather will be replaced by more windy, rainy weather. Just a note from the council. All teams are out this morning and routes are being monitored and actioned as required. Some routes require additional ploughing and treatment. The main message from the council is to avoid unnecessary journeys. Use gritted routes if you have to travel, even if that means a longer journey, and drive at a speed appropriate to the conditions. So that is the message from the council there. Noel Sheridan's on with me now. Good morning, Noel.
Good morning.
Right, okay. So your situation goes back really to Christmas. What happened to you?
Basically, what happened was I've got a suspected insect bite on the leg, and it became infected rather quickly. And I went via ambulance to Letterkenny ED, and I was left for a good number of hours before being assessed, if you catch my drift.
Did you go to the GP first? Did the GP refer you to the ED, Noel?
Basically what happened, 2 days before that, I went to NODOC, and what happened was they gave me a prescription for the antibiotics, so it would tide me over to my own GP reopened in the new year. But my respiratory system started failing on New Year's Day, so I had to phone an ambulance myself via 999.
Right, so you were 27 hours in a wheelchair in the ED, then you got a bed, and you were told you'd need 10 days of intravenous antibiotics, obviously, presumably, to avoid sepsis or something of those along those lines. So were you in hospital for 10 days on antibiotics?
No, I was in basically for just under 5. Then I'm not entirely sure what the reason was. They said my blood count was improving, so they were going to switch me to oral antibiotic.
All right.
But since then, I have been on oral antibiotic, and the leg has not really improved that much.
And we, those watching the show can see it's very red. It doesn't look like, it looks incredibly infected. You went back to your GP on Monday. They took a look at it. Did they send you back to the ED?
They wrote a letter to say that this is an extremely severe case on their opinion, and that I would need to be medical intervention happen again. And basically, I went into the waiting area with the letter on ED, so forth. And after that, what happened was that I waited then for approximately 4 to 5 hours, and the triage nurse seen me again. And then after another 4 to 5 hours, nothing was doing. So it was approximately 11 p.m. at night at this stage. I went down approximately about 2 p.m. in the day. 11 p.m. I turned around, and I have sleep apnea, so I require medical intervention for that at night, so I cannot sleep on a wheelchair or a trolley.
Mm-hmm. So what's your situation now? So you had to leave at that point. Are you still taking the antibiotics? Have you finished the antibiotics? How are you feeling? What's your situation now, Noel?
I am still taking the antibiotics. I have got a repeat prescription from the GP, and basically I'm waiting to see, is this going to help the situation, and after that then I have to make a decision what I'm doing. But I don't see a further point in as regards the triage system for my leg. It doesn't deem to be severe enough to be checked out immediately, because it seems that in that system more serious cases get pushed past me, and so I could be left sitting again for a very long period of time.
But with this leg as it is, inflamed and red, and the concerns your GP has, I mean, you must be sitting at home worried if this is going to spread. Is this going to kill you?
The bottom line is, if they say that if it hits the bone, then there's a worry of the sepsis and deep sepsis, which means at the end of the line scale it would be leg amputation. But I hope it never, ever comes near that.
No, very unlikely it will, but it's always going to be a worry. So what is your situation now? You're going to see if the antibiotics can work at all. But you've no faith to go back into the ED. You know what your GP will say. You're kind of stuck at the moment, just praying that the antibiotics work, Noel.
That's basically it, because to go on the next step, to go private, you have to get referred by a consultant, and that could be difficult under the present circumstances as well.
All right.
Because they probably deem that you need to go through ED again.
Okay, Noel. Well, listen, we're up against the news at 10. We've heard your story. We'll make some inquiries. Obviously, you say you wanted to speak to highlight how you're being treated, how the medical service works. It's not a very pleasant experience. We hope you get better soon. But for now, Noel, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back after the news and obituary notices, which will be about a minute later than normal.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Cuireann cervical check scag hostal curvax fáil siarnáisce de bhná idir 25 agus 65 bliain díos. Tá scag hostal curvax le high HPV cheann na bailí is fearr leis an risca a laidú go dúchach an ailte curvax tamachchanse. Mátá an nám dat scag hostal curvax a áil, déan cunne inniu. Le hólas a áil agus lena chinú go bhfuil tú an glór, teigeigh hse.ie/cervical check. Ó aimimenacht na Service Sláinte.
Homeowners, it's time to unlock incredible savings on your energy bills. Efficient Renewables is here to reduce your energy consumption. Say goodbye to skyrocketing costs and hello to renewable energy solutions. With no VAT on solar panels and the generous grants for both solar panels and heat pumps, see these innovative systems in action in our state-of-the-art showroom in Newton Cunningham today. Contact Efficient Renewables on 074 97 08320.
Winter sale now on at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms. 10% off all purchases for a limited period. T's and C's apply. See in store. Book a free consultation today in our Donegal Town showroom on 074 97 25 822. Luxury kitchens and bedrooms at affordable prices. Expect more and get more at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms.
What features do you like in a new car?
Good tech. A big screen for playing music and putting up maps.
Comfort. The car has to be comfortable.
I like good bright LED headlights.
I like a reversing camera and sensors.
I look for a good warranty and a decent price.
Well, the new Citroën C4X U Edition has all these features and more. Test drive the new Citroën C4X at Highland Motors, Mountain Top, Letterkenny. Oh, and the price? $29,900 on the road.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's Donna Marie Doherty with the news at 10 o'clock. There's been an update for 14 out of the 19 families facing eviction in Letterkenny. In a meeting of Ballymacool Residents Association, it was revealed these families may be able to get help from the tenant in situ and cost rental tenant in situ schemes. One of the other families has since moved and the remaining are attempting to get a mortgage. Chairperson Cathal McGlynn says it's a positive move in the right direction.
8 of the families affected have been eligible for the tenant in situ scheme, which means that we were able to get them 8 families onto the council housing list. The council are awaiting structure reports from the engineers, so once them reports are through, it's possible that the council then will be able to go ahead with purchasing them houses. We also have 6 families that are eligible for the cost rental tenant in situ scheme, and that's along the same lines that the families will then be able to be kept in their homes with the housing authority purchasing the houses for them.
The Marine section of Donegal County Council is to review the safety of the ferry slipway in Rathmullen. The issue's been raised by Councillor Pádraig McGarvey, who says at times when the Lough Swilly ferry to Buncrana isn't operating, he believes a new barrier or gate is necessary on the ferry slipway. Councillor McGarvey says he fears the tragedy on the pier in Buncrana in 2016 could be repeated in Rathmullen.
I had a lengthy conversation with the Marine Department and I'm delighted to say that a review was going to be taking place off the slipway. They said it was a very reasonable motion and the dangers that it involves, they were going to review the signage at the slipway and also see the need for the barrier. I did say that there was no need for the barrier to be closed during the summer months as the ferry was operating, but in the winter I think it brings very many challenges.
Tusla says it is committed to working with the Rafo Diocesan Pastoral Services to maintain counselling services in Letterkenny. Senior officials from the Child and Family Agency met with the service this week. Michaela Clark has more.
Following what has been described as a productive meeting, TUSLA has committed to continue to work with the counselling service to help them resolve current financial operational issues and to develop a sustainability plan and ensure necessary clinical governance and oversight of operations are in place. The agency will engage with other key stakeholders to support the service which it provides funding for in order for it to continue to provide vital counselling supports across Donegal. Jerry Hone, Regional Chief Officer, West Northwest TUSLA, says he is fully aware of the significance of the counselling services and conscious of how the closure of it would affect local communities. Mr Hone says the agency will also look at how existing funding can be utilised to continue to provide essential supports.
A fire service representative told Letterkenny Milford Municipal District this week that Uisce Éireann has been briefed on the urgent need to clear a blocked hydrant at Long Lane outside a house fire in December, but not state whether that work has been done. Councillors Jerry McMonigal and Jimmy Kavanagh both had motions before the meeting calling for a comprehensive programme to check hydrant markings and access. They were told the fire service currently carries out examinations and then reports any issues to Uisce Éireann. Both Councillor McMonigal and Councillor Jimmy Kavanagh says there needs to be government clarification on where responsibility for the inspections lie. Councillor Kavanagh successfully proposed that the council formally write to the Minister seeking that clarification.
I think that we need this clarified by the Minister, because from talking to other councillors in other areas of the country as well, the same issue seems to arise on a regular basis with fire hydrants, as there's not really a process there for checking them properly. And as you know, when you find a faulty one, it could be too late in terms of 2 or 3 minutes lost in a really grave situation. So it's important that we get that clarity, and I think the best way to go about that is to ask the Minister about it.
PSNI say Fountain Hill in the waterside area of Derry is closed to traffic due to ice and snow, making driving conditions treacherous. If you're travelling today, please drive with extra caution, slow down and increase the distance between you and the car ahead. To weather, very cold start with frost, ice and fog, slow to clear, lingering in some spots through the day. Scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow will spread across North Ulster through the afternoon and evening. That's with highs of just 1 to 5 degrees. That's all for now from Highland Radio News, back again at 11 o'clock. Good morning. The obituary notices this Thursday morning, January 18th. The death has occurred of Mary B. McGinty, ní Gallagher, Cloughanmore, Cloughan. Remains reposing at McCool's Chapel of Rest, Ballybuffet today and tomorrow from 6 o'clock until 10 o'clock, when all are welcome to pay their respects. Rosary both nights at 8 p.m. Funeral leaving there on Saturday at 12:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Our Lady of Perpetual Succour, Glenfin at 1 p.m. Interment in Kilworth Cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed on mcnmedia.tv. The death has taken place of Desi Keeney, Barrack Lane, St Mary's Road, Buncrana. His remains are reposing at his niece Adele Noon's residence, Umry Cam, Buncrana. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 9:30, going to St Mary's Oratory for 10 o'clock Requiem Mass. Burial afterwards in Cockhill Cemetery. The death has occurred of Mary McCafferty, Knock Ballybuffet. Remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church Session, followed by interment in the adjoining churchyard. Rosary at 9 o'clock. Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish YouTube channel. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, to the Donegal Hospice, care of any family member. The death has taken place of John Sandylands, the Lag, Milford. Remains reposing at his home. Funeral Mass this morning at 11 a.m. in St Peter's Church, Milford, with burial afterwards in Milford Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time please before the funeral. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Here's how a current account from An Post Money makes your money matter more. Make spending a way to save with tools like Roundup. Make light work of budgeting with An Post Money Manager. Make saving for whatever you're after easier with savings jars. The list goes on. Make your money matter more with a current account from An Post Money. Open an account on the An Post Money app or at your local post office today. T's and C's apply. An Post is authorised by the Minister for Finance to provide payment services and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland in the provision of such services.
And now, IMRO's 2023 Best Local or Regional News Programme, The Voice of the Northwest, the 9 till noon show with Greg Hughes.
Hi everyone, you're welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Good morning if you have just joined us. It is 8 minutes past 10 on this Thursday, the 18th of January 2024. And a good morning to you if you're listening to us overnight as well. The show is repeated and maybe you're listening to the pod. Good to have you on board. Thank you for all of your comments. It's really appreciated. We've got loads of interesting stuff coming up over the next couple of hours. That's very important to us here in the Northwest and beyond, so stay tuned for that. I want to get to some of your comments though, as soon as you've been so good to get your phones out. Greg, tell those people who have cabin fever to get their shovel and yard brushes and shovel some of the snow off their driveways. It's good exercise. Another, it's an absolute disgrace that the government have just returned to work yesterday. What kind of example are they showing all our young ones? Become a politician? Nobody deserves a pay rise like the nurses in Northern Ireland. I agree London government won't care, but my God, something needs to change. They work so hard for so little, shouldering huge responsibilities, long unsocial hours and keeping health systems going in dire conditions, lower paid than the rest of the UK, then having to use charities to sustain cost of living, etc., and food banks. I'm aware of many situations. How is that fair? Well, just look at some of the pay disparity that is in Northern Ireland versus Britain. A teacher's starting salary in Northern Ireland is £24,000. That's compared to £30,000 in England, 30,000 odd in Wales and 32,000 in Scotland. A full-time band 5 nurse in Northern Ireland, their starting pay is £27,055. In Wales, they could expect to earn £28,834. In England, it's £28,407. And in Scotland, £30,399. Now, that doesn't tell the full story. That's just choosing one band of nursing there. A median salary for an executive officer in Northern Ireland civil service last year was €20,130. In England and Wales, an extra €1,000 at €28,120. And in Scotland, again, paying the best wage is €28,920. Just some examples of the pay difference between Northern Ireland and Britain. Morning, Greg. Time for Stormont to be either demolished or turned into flats, in my opinion. Stormont Assembly is doomed never to return again. I can't see how it can. I can't see the DUP's demands being met, and I can't see how they can back down. I'm told the short stay car park in Letterkenny University Hospital is being cleared by a snowplough, so now it is clear. Earlier on I heard on the naughty alarm clock that the big car park was okay, but the short car park hasn't been gritted, but now the plough is out and it should be good to go. Time the UK manned up and told the DUP, unless they get back to Stormont and start doing what they're elected to do, we are not going to throw any more money into the cooking pot. I'd say if the UK government could hand back Northern Ireland to Ireland, they would. It's costing them billions. What do they get from it? Well, you only have to see some of the polling that's been done amongst Conservatives, who are the ruling party at the moment, how much interest there is in that. They are more interested in. I mean, I worked in England for a few years. Whatever interest they had about Ireland, zero interest or understanding of Northern Ireland at all. Just literally like it was the Falkland Islands or something. Do you know what I mean? Something they own, but they don't have any real knowledge or interest in. It seems. That being said, there was a war on the Falkland Islands. But anyway, Hugh, Jade and Lucy, great initiative, great work. Well done to the Students' Council in Glenties. That's the type of initiative from the students we need, as they are our future leaders. Here, I agree with you 100%. Well done, students. Delighted to see your work paying off and delighted the council listened to your concerns and did something about it. Agreed. Greg, I had to leave work early last night at 7:30 to get home because of the snow. The main roads were in a shocking condition, never mind the side roads. I had to travel on them. Yeah, indeed. There was a period of time, 3 or 4 hours last evening, where it got pretty chaotic, no doubt about it. Planning permission has been suspended to house refugees in IPAS, which means the suspension of democracy. The voice that was ours through the planning permission process has been stolen to carry out the Plantation of Ireland. The Plantation of Ireland. Explain that to me a little bit more. I do see a lot of these phrases used on social media. What is the Plantation of Ireland? Who's behind it? Let me know. 086 60 25,000. I'm not saying it's happening. I'm just would a better understanding because I see the same phraseology used up and down the country and in other countries as well. Cara House Family Resource Centre is closed and won't be delivering any dinners today due to the weather, I'm told. Please give a shout out to the wee blue van in Cunningham, a nurse, and it was great to get a hot cup of coffee on a morning like this. The owner had been out since 4:30 getting prepped. Well done. And on it goes. Right, we've got to take a break because we've got lots to get to, as you can imagine. We're going to get an update on what the situation is, the actual situation, as best as we can tell at this point, in relation to the Child and Adolescent Counselling Services. That and so much more besides over the next wee while. But here are the bingo numbers if you're waiting to see if you've won today's jackpot.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 18th of January. Jackpot day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €7,600 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S14. It's game number 3. The jackpot number is 66. This number can come out in any position from the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers: 37, 40, 49, 12, 87, 68, 38, 29, 79, and finally 9. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price sale. Get up to 50% off all tiles. Wood flooring, bathware, cladding, everything's reduced. Tiles from only $8.99 per square yard and wood flooring from only $11.99 per square yard. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring half-price January sale is now on.
Easy Living Furniture's biggest ever winter sale is on, but ends Sunday. This is your last chance to avail of these amazing discounts. Absolutely everything reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress and accessories. It's the furniture you want at amazing winter sale prices. Winter sale ends Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
At iMotors, our brand new Kia 241 range is ready to go for immediate delivery. As Donegal's home for Kia, with 7 years warranty and low finance rates from 1.9% on EV cars and 3.9% on the rest of the range. Check out our stylish and diverse range at imotors.ie. iMotors, your local Kia dealership.
The ultimate ABBA Sensations tribute comes to Ancourch Hotel Gidor on Friday, January 19th, and the Villa Rose Hotel Ballybuffet on Saturday, January 20th. Tickets available from hotel reception and online at Eventbrite. The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Now, the Register of Political Parties has given notice of its intention to approve an application by the Farmers Alliance Party to become a registered political party eligible to stand candidates in Ireland's Dáil, local and European Parliament elections. The decision will come effective after a 21-day appeal period or the outcome of any such appeal. Right, now, Liam McLaughlin joins us on the programme to discuss this. Good morning, Liam.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
It's good to have you with us. Okay, so talk to us about the formation of this party and where it might stand and what its ambitions are.
Well, I suppose, Greg, the formation of this party, the startup idea come from myself, and it just seems to have exploded. The support is growing massively, and we went through a lot of effort there to get the party registered, but in fairness, the register office, etc., worked very well with us to get it across the line. And At the moment, we're busy concentrating on candidates across the country. Seems to be a lot of interest there, but there's a lot of work has to go into it now. Interviews are ongoing, etc., with candidates, and we have a massive workload ahead of us, but we do believe from the feedback on the ground that we can definitely achieve a lot here, you know.
Is it a single issue in the issue being Agriculture Party, or will you have a manifesto that goes far beyond that? And I suppose there is a very strong argument that agriculture, rural Ireland, all of that is somewhat intertwined anyway. So if you address some of the problems, inevitably you're addressing the others. But you know what is the plan to be?
No, it's definitely not focused solely on agriculture. Listen, the light was kind of being shone on the farmers to bring something about. There seems to be great respect yet from everybody across the country, the urban areas and everybody else, for farmers. We're getting big support out of Dublin, Cork, all the cities. And listen, there's a lot of heavy issues there at the moment in agriculture. People don't feel represented, but the rest of the population don't feel represented either. Immigration seems to be the big one at the moment. We're getting massive feedback in it.
And what is the position on that, seeing as you brought that up? What is has the party formulated a position on immigration at this point?
Closed borders and possibly invoke the opt-out clause, because that's what the people of Ireland want.
You'd close the borders. You'd close the borders completely.
No, listen. When we say close the borders, we say we want control on the borders. Like, we have border controls, we have all the services in place there. They're just not really being used they're not being used how they should be at the moment. Listen, we need people coming into this country. Let's call a spade a spade. Our hospitals, etc., wouldn't function without people coming into this country. We have some great people in our hospitals and businesses across the country. Farmers are highly reliant on labour from other countries as well.
So who are the people that you would not allow in then? Sorry, just to be...
Well, I'm not saying that we wouldn't allow them. I'm saying everybody has to be checked, but at the minute it's a free-for-all. Like, we're bringing them in bus loads and we're dumping them off in towns across the country, which is creating a lot of anger out there at the moment. It's putting stress on our services that are already under pressure. Like, we all know, Greg, and I'm sure you know better than anybody, is we can't get a hospital appointment. People can't get a house. We have 12 or 13,000 people homeless, but yet we keep providing living accommodation for busloads of people from other countries. That cannot continue.
So even if we'll not dwell on this, but so even if they are fleeing war or face persecution in their own country, you say, look, we're full here, we can't help you, you'll have to go somewhere else. Is that what you're saying?
But listen, Greg, the majority of what's coming in is not fleeing war. They're from Africa, they're from all the different countries around the world. Listen, people talk about fleeing war. Go online, you can book a holiday in Ukraine at the moment, but yet they're fleeing war.
So you think what we're being told about Ukraine is a lie?
No, I do not know, but I do not. Listen, there is definitely, it's very sad what's going on in Ukraine. It's terrible, but it's a section of the country. It's not the entire country. Now, if anybody wants to check it, they can go online and book a holiday to Ukraine.
Okay. Helen O'Sullivan's also Farmers Alliance representative. You're of the same view that what we're being told about Ukraine, Helen's a load of gobbledygook, and people can book hotels and go on holidays there.
Sorry, Greg, can I just come in again? I didn't say it was gobbledygook. I would like to pull you up on that point there and go back on it just 1 second.
Okay.
Ukraine war is a real thing. We all know that. And nobody here from Farmers Alliance said gobbledygook. So you have to back up on that point there, please.
I'll change the word if you like. That it's being exaggerated, Helen, and that if you wanted to go on holiday to Ukraine, that's no problem. And we should be looking at really, I think Liam is saying, are they actually fleeing a war in coming here?
Good morning, Craig. We actually, at Farmers Alliance, we do recognise the importance of migrants to our country, and we welcome them to come here to work here and to help our economy, of course. And to be fair, we have done our part, Greg. We have taken in people fleeing from the Ukraine, and we have put them up, and we have done the best we can do. Ireland is one of the countries in Europe that has taken in the most migrants at the moment. But I suppose we've come to a point where, you know, our people are at unease now at the moment, as you can see there in Rosscray and other parts of the country. And I suppose, you know, we done the best we can. It's very inhumane having people in tents So I suppose there is an opt-out clause there that we can use, and Denmark has used it already, Greg, and that's under the Lisbon Treaty. So I suppose, what do you do? Do you keep bringing people where we have no room and putting local communities, at unease and unrest? Or do you take the common sense approach and say, look, at the moment, we have no more room. Let's use this opt-out clause like Denmark and,
But they're okay to come here if they're going to work in hospitals, healthcare settings, on farms. If we need them to work, it's okay for them to come in that situation. It's just if we don't need them.
Oh, well, I'm not saying that. I mean, yourself, we have housed an awful lot of migrants in this country, to be fair. Like I've mentioned already, we're one of the only countries in Europe that has taken in the most. So that's not what we're saying at all, Greg. But what we're saying is people in this country are a lot of unease. Our services are already overstretched. They're even more overstretched now, as Lee mentioned there, to get a hospital appointment, a doctor's appointment. We cannot get one. So, what do you do? It reminds me of a situation if you're at your kitchen sink, Greg, and you're filling a bottle of water, bottles overflowing. What do you do?
Mm-hmm. So what do you do now in terms of growing the party from here, Helen? And listen, I'm not, by the way, just to be clear, and I'll make this point to Liam as well, I am not focusing on the immigrant issue for any other reason other than that it's the biggest topic in the country at the moment today, and Liam brought it into the discussion, and I think that a lot of the elections, even though you're going to be championing farming issues, Helen, are probably going to be, a lot of the conversation is probably going to be focused on that area, and people will be very interested to for you to be clear on your policy in that regard. So I'm not challenging the politics. It's not my position to do so at this point. It was just to get it clear as to what it actually is. But in terms of growing the party and candidates, Helen, I'll put it to you, I suppose it's in tandem, because we could be having 3 EU council and Dáil elections this year. So the work starts now, doesn't it, really, in sort of getting the ducks in a row to contest these various elections in different places?
Absolutely, Greg, yes. And we're currently at the moment, we're holding interviews. We have an awful lot of people that have made contact with us via our website, which is www.farmersalliance.ie. And again, if any of your listeners are interested, please come to us. We are looking for, I suppose, what we're looking for, the qualities we're looking for in the people, really, Greg, is just a bit of common sense, really. To try and make our country better. And we just want to have policies that will fix, we feel our system is broken here in this country at the moment. So we hope to field candidates all around the country. And yes, the local elections will be first, there's European and then the general. But like you say, the general election may come sooner than what we had anticipated.
Liam, is there a party policy on Europe? Would you favour staying within Europe and working at it, getting people elected to it, trying to influence in the EU? Or is there a sort of an Irexit sort of position from the Farmers Alliance, or has that been formulated yet?
No, listen, we're in favour of Europe, but listen, it needs drastic changes at the moment. Listen, there is a segment of people out there calling for us to leave Europe, but we feel, listen, we need Europe. We're in this market, and we need it, and we have to try and repair it rather than destroy it. There's rules and regulations coming down from Europe at the moment, and there's schemes coming out. Let's take, for example, the acre scheme there at the moment. They have farm planners counting weeds and plants and fields to gauge your payments on the acre scheme, which is absolute nonsense. Like, when you have people coming to your fields and counting weeds and counting plants and counting how overgrown your hedge is, and they gauge your payment on that. That is not a practical environmental scheme. Farmers Alliance are 100% in favour of looking after the environment, but we need schemes that will work, and we need Europe to stop sending this nonsense down the line to us, because it just is not doable and is not viable to even try and do it.
Helen, a listener, now I'm not sure if they're maybe interested in seeking an interview for candidacy or a voter, or either of the two of you, will this new party have a pro-life ethos policy? That will be a deciding factor for me. I'm a member of the farming community. So is there an established position on an issue like that, Helen?
Well, again, as we are newly established, we all of our policies aren't defined yet, so we're currently working on that. But if that person wants to come with us and speak to us about that, that's no problem at all.
It is really very early days, isn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, it is indeed.
Yeah, in terms of Donegal candidates, are we likely to see or any constituency for that matter. Would you like to see, Helen, say, for instance, in terms of the council election, one candidate in the county or one candidate in each municipal district, for an example? And of course, it all depends on interest and what can be organised and what have you. But realistically, have you set targets as to what's achievable in this short enough run-in that we have?
Yeah, as time is against us, Greg, as you've mentioned there, because we're just, it's been so busy and we're only newly formed, we would definitely hope to have one in Donegal County, but better again if we could have one in every municipal constituency for the local elections. That would be preferable. So again, like I've mentioned, to your listeners, if anyone is interested, please contact us via the website, www.farmers.alliance.ie, and get in touch, because, we've set this up, but we need the people to help us build this, Greg, so, and that's what we need to do.
And Liam, what about sort of, maybe current sitting independent councillors, or even those that maybe feel, disgruntled from within a party? Has there been any, do you anticipate you will gather any members that way, or has there been any, feelers put out, or what's the story?
We've had contact from disgruntled people from other parties that are mad to get out of the parties, but at the moment we are going to go on without getting involved with other parties, because I think, to be quite honest, the brand that they were attached to would do us more harm than good at the moment. We've done a poll online, and 96% of the people come back and told us not to get involved with independents or other parties.
Really?
So sticking to that, yeah.
That's really interesting. Is it? Were you surprised by that sort of feedback?
I was very surprised, but especially that this was actually done in a kind of rural community poll, and I was very surprised that they actually rejected the independents as well. Yeah. Because we were talking to independents in the early days, and I'm a great believer in working off feedback, so I'm going to stick to that and move forward by ourselves, and I do believe new faces is the answer, And
I suppose, like, Helen, parties like yours and other parties, or people new to politics this time round, the turnout for local elections and EU elections particularly is really quite low. I presume you will be hoping not only sort of to have people who do vote regularly to swing in your direction, but sort of present something that feels so fresh that they might say, right, actually, it's worth my time bothering to vote, if that makes sense, Helen.
Yeah, hopefully, Greg. I know people are disillusioned at the moment and have been for the last number of years, and a lot of them are demoralised. I suppose they kind of feel, why the hell should we bother? Because, things don't seem to be changing. The last elections, people promised X, Y, and Z, they got in and nothing happened. But look, we're a new group. Hopefully, we're getting a lot of attention, a lot of traction from various parts, not just rural, but Dublin City. We're overwhelmed by the response from people in Dublin, which is fantastic. And, I feel maybe we can be the people that can be that voice to make the change. So I would encourage everyone to please come out and, vote, and preferably vote for Farmers Alliance.
It's funny, isn't it? It's so almost ironic. We talk of the urban-rural divide as if we are two separate people, but you're getting, which we're not, we all know that clearly, but you're getting good traction in the more urban areas. Okay, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting. It was always going to be interesting, and I think with the arrival of your party as well, it's only going to make it even more so. Helen, thank you so much for your time, and best luck with the future, as I'd say to everyone. Yes, Liam, did you want to say goodbye or something else?
Yeah, can I just get one point on there?
Of course you can.
I would advise everybody to go online and check their voting status. There's an issue at the moment with everybody's voting register. Most people will find out they are now only eligible to vote in the local elections and are no longer eligible to vote in the national or European elections. And people seriously need to go online and get themselves registered again. There has been some sort of a mix-up there, or people have been removed. We have had 6 members check, and 5 of them came back unregistered who were registered in the past.
Well, and I think regardless of which way you're going to vote, that's a problem. Okay, good stuff. Liam, thanks for your time. And as I say, best of luck into the future. So I would say to anyone who's putting the head above the parapet and putting themselves into elected politics, still some of the policies in terms of, is it going to be a pro-life policy or not at this point? The position on immigration is clear at this point. but other issues still are to be decided. Thank you very much to Liam and Helen there for that. Cafes and restaurants are closing down around the country or the county as locals have no money and there's nowhere for tourists to stay. What's to become of Donegal's tourism business? We've talked about this extensively on the programme. It's been recognised by government representatives that it is an issue as well. Right from the very get-go, when the very, very, very first hotel, which was identified to right after Russia invaded Ukraine, that was identified to be accommodation, the very first question that I was putting to people at that point was, what does this mean for the other businesses? You know, that go stay in a hotel, go to a local cafe, go to a local newsagent, or whatever it might be. And now we're at a situation from that one single hotel where over 50% of accommodation beds in this county are occupied and not by tourists. The government increased the minimum wage in the budget, but employers who are not able to pay their employees the minimum wage increase are instead cutting their hours accordingly. Is it any wonder that it's becoming difficult to recruit and retain staff in the middle of a cost of living crisis? Wow, that's interesting. Is that something that you've experienced? So instead of matching the wage, they're cutting hours because they simply can't afford it. Give us more information on it if that's something you've noticed or that you are affected by. 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. Right, really busy on the phone lines. Thank you so very much indeed. Back with our next guest in just a minute.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Return, refund, recycled. Ireland's deposit return scheme is coming. From the 1st of February 2024, when you buy a drink in a bottle or can with the return logo, you'll pay a small deposit. Once you're refreshed, return your empty, undamaged bottle or can to any shop or supermarket and get your deposit back. The result? Less litter, less waste, and better recycling for Ireland. For more, visit return.ie.
Why leave all the magic moments or great scenes you've captured on your phone sitting there or in the cloud when you can have them printed at McGee's Chemist? Using the McGee's app or one of the in-store kiosks, you can upload your photos from your phone, Google Photos, Facebook or Instagram and have them printed instantly within an hour or in by 10 and ready by 5. See mcgees.ie for more details. Hold your memories in your hand with McGee's Chemist, Letterkenny.
So he was like messaging me all night and then he just ghosted me.
No way.
Yeah. He was like, "You're so hot, I want to come over."
Okay.
And I was like, "Cool." And he was like, "I'm on my way, driving over right now."
And then?
Nothing.
Phone use while driving can be deadly. Your phone, it won't kill you to put it away. From the Road Safety Authority, visit rsa.ie.
Being a Garda will change your life. I often hear my friends who have normal jobs complaining about going to work. I love what I do, and I think most Gardaí are the same. You're just not allowed to get bored. I've done the job for 30 years and had 20 different roles, each time learning something new. I've been a coach and mentor. I've managed high-risk undercover operations. I've walked the beat and developed protocols for dealing with cyberbullying, which is saving lives right across Ireland today. I'm currently involved in extraditing dangerous criminals who pose a risk to our communities. Being a Garda is a really tough job, but it's definitely a job worth doing. You can apply now at publicjobs.ie.
Okay, we just heard before the break of someone saying that businesses who can't match the minimum wage are actually cutting hours. A business person messaged to say, "Yes, I am an employer and I have no choice but to cut staff hours until Easter when hopefully things improve." Okay, so it is not just a once-off, seemingly. Hello, I was asking now for months through your show to get the council to clean the drains on both sides of the road as the water was running down it every day. And if it rained, there was torrents of water. Well, as the council never bothered, it's now frozen solid and no car can go up or down these last couple of days. Thank you, County Council, for your help as we don't even have grit or salt and sand to put out ourselves. Hi, Greg. The government should look at other ways to try to keep nurses and doctors here. Give them things like a great mortgage rate for, say, 8 to 10 years or something. That way you get to invest in a home in Ireland, maybe with the follow on of a family. And then hopefully they get settled here and hence no thoughts of leaving. That comes in from Paddy there. Thanks, Paddy. I agree with some of what the guy's saying. My cousin is a teacher who had many of her pupils go missing during term time for 2 weeks. When they came back to school, they said they'd gone back to Ukraine on holidays. Now my thought here is, if you left and made yourself a refugee, why go back on holidays? A caller says the plantation of Ireland is a term only used by the anti-everything brigade, in my opinion. I think they can stick a camera in anyone's face and post it on social media. Someday they'll stick their camera in the wrong face. Another, two people saying how it's about controlling borders, surprised they were allowed airtime. Complete and utter nonsense. I mean, right, we haven't, just to be very clear, and I don't want to be defensive, we've platformed people's views on this programme all the time. There are now, if you watch on politically, you'll see political parties all of a sudden now they're changing their views and using language that would have been deemed no language a long time ago. But right from the very, very beginning, we have been having these conversations, and this has always been a place where people were allowed to express their concerns when it's respectful and what have you. But it's always been. We've never had an issue like that. We had one politician on who expressed his views in relation to immigration about a year ago, and they tried effectively to cancel him nationally for doing so. We have been, why you would say they were surprised they were allowed airtime is nonsense, because you obviously don't listen to this show. Hi, Greg. The only time when the UK got schooled in Northern Ireland is when Derry Girls came out and when Theresa May found 6 extra DUP votes down the number 10 settee. That's after negotiating the cat off first. That's from Kevin in Dunlow. Never watched Derry Girls yet. Under what name, if you don't mind, Caroline? Sorry. Good morning, Greg. Great to hear the students and teachers from Glenties Comprehensive School on your programme. Well done to them and the pupils' reps putting the new system in place. A caller says, I have a VDF 600 mobile phone with battery that can't be removed. It won't switch on. I need a phone to receive emails and hospital appointments. I'm lost without it. Can't afford a new phone. Maybe someone might know out there what's wrong. Please read it out. Someone might know if the phone can be sorted. Any help would be appreciated. It's a 600, a VDF 600. Now, you could try a hard reset. I don't know exactly with that phone how you do that, but I'll have a look at it. If that doesn't work, you're probably in bother. Alternatively, have you tried another charger? Okay, that's the only suggestion I can make at this point. Caroline, did you find out under which name, please? Thanks very much. Hi, Greg. This is a strange one for you. I have a beautiful butterfly in the window in my bedroom since the end of November. Sometimes I look and his wings are opened out. Most times he's huddled in the corner, just wondering how he's surviving. Thanks, Greg. Well, okay, there's bound to be someone out there who knows a little bit about butterflies. I didn't think their lifespan was that long. But apparently it's alive and still on the window in the bedroom. Most of the time, sometimes his wings are opened, and most of the time he's huddled in the corner. How is he surviving? Asks the listener. Asks that listener. What's he eating? Is he alive? I'm presume he is. 2 inches of snow and the whole place comes to a standstill. Unreal, says a texter. Indeed. Let's face it, the DUP will under no circumstances work under a Sinn Féin First Minister. Time the DUP grew up and modernised themselves. And on it goes. Listen, here's another one here. Heard someone complain about the government only just getting back to work. Shouldn't complain. Least on holidays, they don't mess anything up. Okay, right. Sitting in short stay car park at Letterkenny Hospital. It's not clear, and the plough is gone at 10:15. Right, okay. And plenty of you, and I at the start of the show yesterday, I suppose paid tribute to the work that our gritting staff are doing, and a few of you along the same lines. Can you send out a thank you to the lads in the gritters? The hours and efforts they're putting in is way beyond the normal working hours. And let's not forget, they're driving on roads that are not gritted as it's spread behind them. They're getting slaughtered online through various online comments, and it must be so disheartening. And which it is disheartening, because these are your neighbours and friends and family as well. I think sometimes people need to realise who might be reading their messages online. It is dangerous. A gritter left the road working outside Letterkenny last evening. First vehicle on the road. They're given lorries to drive that distributes grit and salt, which is really not effective on 2 inches of snow. It's not going to really work too well on that. It'll soften it and what have you. It's great on ice on roads, but not so on snow and what have you. And they are out first, and I'm full of gratitude to them. I'm going to take the 1:45 break a little early because we're going to speak and get an update on the potential future of the services, the counselling services provided by the Referendum Dyson Pastoral Centre.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Is that the new Opel?
Yes, of course.
Does it really look that good?
Yes, of course.
Is it fun to drive?
Yes, of course.
Is it packed with smart tech?
Yes, of course.
Can I test drive it right now at Heron Auto Opel?
Yes, of course.
The new Opel Corsa, now available. Hybrid and electric coming soon. See heronopel.ie for details.
Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin. January sale now on. Big reductions in store on tiles, bathware and wood flooring. Delivery and fitters available. Get that bargain while stocks last. Remember, at Crawford's we've got it covered for you. That's Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin. 914342.
Do you need a UK address? Save hundreds of euros on custom charges shopping online with Space Hub Dairy. We provide a full virtual address mailbox service for all your business and personal use. Save hundreds, possibly thousands, on custom charges with Space Hub Dairy. Call 048 71 87 8077 or online spacehubdairy.com for more details.
Cooney's Home Interiors January sale just got bigger. 30% off all beds, 20% off all rugs, lamps and accessories, 20% off all dining room furniture, and up to 20% off all sofas and suites, all with immediate home delivery. But hurry, only while stocks last. Cooney's Home Interiors Letterkenny Retail Park. Style and perfection at incredible value.
It's time to visit Ireland's newest Lexus dealership, Lexus Letterkenny. With 50 years of experience, you can trust us in this new era of electrification. Experience our all-electrified range, including the stunning ES Hybrid Saloon and our award-winning range of plug-in hybrid SUVs. And view our finance offers, including the all-new LBX. Start your 241 journey with Lexus Letterkenny Port Road. Lexus. Experience amazing.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air-to-water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Okay, very cold today with frost, ice and fog, slow to clear, lingering in some parts throughout the entire day. A dry and sunny start with scattered showers of rain, sleet and snow, which will spread across the north of the region through this afternoon and evening. Highest temperatures of just 1 to 5 degrees. Winds would be light. Now, Tusla released a press release last evening that said it's working with the Referendum Dyson Pastoral Services to maintain the important counselling services they provide in communities across Donegal and support the organisation going forward. Senior officials, were told, from Tusla met with Referendum Dyson Pastoral Services yesterday following a productive meeting. The agency is committed to continue to work with the organisation to resolve current financial operational issues and to provide a sustainability plan and ensure necessary clinical governance and oversight of operations are in place. There's a quote there from Jerry Hone, Regional Chief Officer with the Northwest in Tusla. I'm fully aware of the significance of the counselling service provided by the Referendum Dyson Pastoral Services to communities across Donegal. We're committed to working with the organisation to help them develop a sustainability plan so that they can continue to provide these important services in the area. And then it finishes with the quote that they gave right from the very beginning. We will also look at how existing funding, which is the funding that's currently being given to the services, I presume, can be utilised to continue to provide essential support. So Liam Cannon, Counselling Director at Referendum Dyson Pastoral Centre, thank you for the time. And would you frame the meeting with Tusla as productive?
Good morning, Greg. Yes, absolutely. I think, after the announcement earlier in the week and all the media attention, we had a meeting then quite quickly arranged with Tusla. And that meeting was very positive. I mean, it was positive in the first place, even that they came back so quickly. And at that meeting, they were looking at our current situation, the circumstances that we're finding ourselves in. But, I suppose they did say to us at the time that, in the past, working with other charities, that they I suppose from experience, needed to look more in depth at all the areas of the pastoral centre services.
Okay, and I get that, but TUSLA were happy enough to refer clients to the services up until now. So I would have thought they'd have done their due diligence prior to the service being on the brink of collapse.
Well, you're 100% right there. TUSLA do refer quite a few clients. However, I suppose at the moment, the situation that we're in would mean, an investment more so than just replacing me, which I think that's what's referred to. Look last night on this video. So, from TUSLA was on that they would look further into this and look at our structures, our governance, what was needed, because I think they realised that we don't have any core staff in the team. Now, the point that you bring up there in relation to the current funding, because I was reading what you had written about that. I think what they're referring to is the current funding that TUSLA has access to, rather than, because if they were to take, a sustainability package from the money that we're already receiving, then there wouldn't be a service.
Yeah, so you think I'm reading too much into the line. We're also looking at how existing funding can be utilised to continue to provide essential services.
That's the words. I couldn't think of the words. I think, it's the existing funding that they have access to. I think that they're.
So, what really for the service users and for you, really, what I'm trying to establish, reading through this statement, I don't actually see anything that staves off the threat of closure as such. But I really hope you can correct me and say, actually, Greg, what you've missed is that they are it seems to be that they're happy to continue to working with you, continue to provide supports, and maybe even if more supports are needed. But in terms of actually getting the service on a steady ground, do they have a role in that, and are they committed to doing that?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm reading into that statement. Yeah, that they are. Again, we have had to provide a lot of additional information to them, and we're currently trying to gather that up. And I think, as I said, they're taking a bigger view of the situation to look at if they do invest additional funding into this, then they need to first of all be sure that we're not going to not going back in 3 or 6 months' time saying, well, actually we have another problem now, because I think that was their experience in the past with other charities. So I think they're really wanting to get a full picture of the situation and then look at what does the actual service need. But I think
they're content for it to be a standalone service, though, that they support, or are they viewing getting involved in the governance side of things? So covering the directorship side of things. They're not uninterested in that.
No, well, that has not been mentioned at all at any level, and I don't believe that that's their intention either. I think they recognise the service as a unique service, a very different service to any of the other services out there, and that it can exist on its own. However, what the struggle is at the current moment is the staffing. So to get it to a place where it can survive on its own, it does need, yes, a director, a coordinator, and I would say a minimum of 2 additional admin staff, just to keep the whole thing on them. So I think from my reading of the statement, Greg, it's my understanding that they're looking at current funding that's available to them to put a sustainability package in place.
Okay.
So for me, in one way, for me, reading that statement last night, on your Facebook page, in one way, for me, it kind of give a guarantee that, now they have made a statement, whereas we're waiting on the HSE. We haven't had anything from the HSE. And I suppose, at this stage, I would like to hear something from the HSE, because we do as much work for the HSE as we do TUSLA. But we have absolutely no funding from the HSE to cover anything.
Yeah, we got a statement in from Minister Charlie McConalogue that reads as follows, and it is short. Minister McConalogue is liaising directly with Bishop McGuckian and the Raphoe Diocese, as well as TUSLA and the HSE, to work to ensure that provisions can be put in place for this very important service to be continued. So at this point, whilst, we can't celebrate anything, so to speak, Liam, and that's probably not really appropriate, but you know what I mean. It seems that this has got the traction now at this point that it can't be allowed to fail. Now, how that's achieved over the next while, because there's a time frame here. You said you'll stay on to some extent, but at the moment, the cliff edge is March. But the mood music to me seems to be, and so many people have commented publicly on this, that whilst we don't necessarily know the path that we will take, it would seem to me then, having been reassured by you, that the future of this service is secure, that it can't be allowed to fail. I mean, is that something you'd be confident enough to relate to your counselling staff, for an example? Like, how would you phrase where we're at?
Well, I think, as I said, when I read the statement, it gave me a bit more confidence. Certainly, we're not secure by any means. Because there's a number of steps to go through before we can actually have that guarantee from any state body here at the moment, like the HSE or TUSLA. And, they're going to have to look at, as I said, the governance, the overall structures, the viability, of course.
Or an interim director, I think, because this is a process that could take some time. Would you see a benefit in an interim director if one can't be appointed immediately to keep it going from a governance perspective, keep it ticking over until such time as something more permanent is put in place?
Well, yes. I mean, everything's on the table here at the minute, but I think the difficulty with an interim director is that, you bring somebody in, they get a handle on things.
And then they're away, yeah.
Again, and you have to, start rebuilding again. But, I think for me, I'm taking, some satisfaction from the statement released by Jerry Hone.
And just to be clear, you didn't meet Jerry Hone, by the way.
No, I haven't spoke with Jerry Hone at all. No,
you have not spoken to the head of TUSLA in this region. Remarkable. Okay, stay where you are, and I'll take my guidance from you. If you say there's room for positivity here, that's good enough for me. Liam, Donna Harper, you will know, has been very vocal on this issue as well. Donna has availed of these services, as has her children. She said that herself publicly. I would never say if she hadn't. And this is in the wake of Donna's awful loss of the beautiful Leona in the Creasler tragedy. And Donna, you've been doing your bit too, and fair play to you, making representations on this issue, because you are of the same view all of us are. This cannot be allowed to fail.
Good morning, Greg. Yes, it's a very vital service here to Donegal, and I'm very passionate about it, and I have been doing a lot of contacts throughout, sending a lot of emails, making a lot of calls, and I have been getting replies back, to be fair, and hopefully, I'm really hoping now that the pastoral centre will get the funding that they need.
Yeah, and common sense may prevail, Donna.
I hope so, because it's a vital service for young people and also adults. But again, going back to young people's mental health, it's a very, very important role. I have been emailing ministers, and I got a phone call back from one of them, and I've got a few emails back. I was also in touch. I don't know if I can name them on air. I've been in touch with a few people, and they have got back. They've all got back to me. They've all replied to me.
Yeah. Is it councillors, TDs, the usuals? Not the usuals. That sounds like I'm being. I don't mean it like that. Well, but you've been out. Thomas Pringle raised it in the Dáil yesterday. Fair play to him. I know you've had representations from Piers Doherty, councillors O'Donnell and Kavanagh, and others as well. Listen, no one wants to paint anyone into a corner on this. All we want is the service retained on, and we're all pulling in one direction. It's not about political point scoring or anything. It's pull on the county jersey and make sure we keep this vital service, Donna.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And I was talking to Thomas Pringle about this as well, and Thomas did tell me that it was raised in it all with the minister, and that she said that she has to undertake to get a report on what the problem is from the HSE, and she will try and resolve it. He did say that you can rest assured that they will keep pushing as much as they can to help and get this done.
Brilliant.
Also had Mary Butler as well, and I know she was talking about it. Had a telephone call then from Paul Meelan, and he's a special advisor to the government, Minister of State, Department of Health, and he's going to make a few calls as well, he told me, and to the relevant people. And again, John O'Donnell, and John got back and he was telling me that it was raised in the council, and Jimmy as well, Jimmy Kavanagh had told me that it was raised in the council, and that Michael McBride had raised it in the council as well at a meeting.
The one disappointment is Minister Roderick O'Gorman, though, because they effectively sent us a press release saying, we refer you to what Tusler is saying, and I don't think you had much satisfaction with him yourself, Donna, briefly.
Do you know, I actually sent quite a few emails to him and I had no response, and I had made a few phone calls, and I actually left a voice note with him. And I did then, late yesterday evening, get a reply back. It wasn't very much. It was just to say that thank you for your correspondence, and that it is receiving attention at the moment, and that they will be back to me as soon as possible.
All right, Donna. Listen, well done. I mean, you have this platform thrust upon you, and we all wish it were different, but I think it's incredible what you've been doing behind the scenes in highlighting, as a service user, the importance of it, Donna. Fair play to you, and thank you so very much indeed. Okay, Liam, it's hard to know how we frame a success on this, but listen, we're moving in the right direction, and it's being discussed at the highest levels in government now. There's an awareness of it. It can't be ignored, and just fingers crossed that the powers that be come up with a workable solution to go forward, Liam.
Yeah, Greg, I can't can't thank people out there enough for the support. I mean, Donna has done, oh my God, Trojan work in the last few days, and I don't think there's a politician in the county that she hasn't spoke with, and even at a national level, she's pushing hard. And Donna and a lot of other people out there. But that's what we need, and we need that to continue, because, as you said, we have, apart from that statement, we have nothing concrete on anything as yet. However, I think the power of the people here is certainly speaking, and I'm very proud to say that the people of Donegal is really always one of the counties in Ireland. I think it's because we're totally neglected here that when something like this, a big issue like this comes up, we get very angry about it very quickly.
All right, Liam, listen, thank you so much for the update. And as I say, I'll take my guidance from you in terms of the positivity of where we are at, and we'll just all keep at it, and hopefully we get something that's more concrete, and we can get our heads around a bit more about the future of this. But I think at this stage, we can say it would be very difficult for it to fail, given the people that are knowledgeable of it, have an interest in it, and have made commitments at this point. So, Liam, thank you, and fair play to you.
Thank you, Greg. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Take care of yourself, okay? Liam Cannon there.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Okay, another 55 minutes of Thursday's show on the way. You don't want to miss it. Let's first get a news update, though, and it's over to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. There has been an update for 14 out of the 19 families facing eviction in Letterkenny. In a meeting of Ballymacool Residents Association, it was revealed these families may be able to get help from the tenant in situ and cost rental tenant in situ schemes. One of the other families have since moved, and the remaining are attempting to get a mortgage. The Marine section of Donegal County Council is to review the safety of the ferry slipway in Rathmullen. The issue is being raised by Councillor Pádraig McGarvey, who says at times when the Lochswilly ferry to Buncrana isn't operating, he believes a new barrier or gate is necessary on the ferry slipway. Councillor McGarvey says he fears the tragedy on the pier in Buncrana in 2016 could be repeated in Rathmullen. Many public services have ground to a halt in Northern Ireland as around 150,000 workers are on strike. Hospitals, schools and transport are all being badly hit. PSNI and Derry say Fountain Hill in the waterside area of the city is closed to traffic due to ice and snow. Those travelling are asked to take extra caution on the roads by slowing down and keeping back from the car ahead. Petrol and diesel prices have dropped by 4 cent a litre this month. January is the fourth month in a row costs have decreased. The EA says on average it costs €1.68 for a litre of either petrol or diesel, and EV owners will pay €967 per year compared to the December average of €975. And finally, a new yellow weather warning for snow and ice has been issued for Donegal, taking effect at 5 o'clock this evening. Met Éireann says snow showers will lead to some accumulations, leading to difficult travelling conditions and some travel and service disruption. It will stay in place until 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Those are the latest headlines. Back again at 12 noon.
Thank you very much indeed, Donna Marie. We'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show after we take this commercial break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
You're useless. Worthless. I look after the money because you're a dope. You'd be nothing without me. Nobody cares about you. That's what abusers tell us. It's all lies. You deserve to be safe, and when you ask for help, you will be heard.
If you're living with domestic or sexual violence, support is always here. Visit alwayshere.ie or call an Garda Síochána.
Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Farm Advisors Down Tools. For more in your Irish Farmers Journal, here's Paul Mooney.
Thousands of farmers could be left in the lurch as advisors set to strike in row with department. Boost as Irish beef back in the menu in China. Derogation farmers secure last-minute concessions. Farmers warned against dumping valuable slurry. Low TAMS approvals halt farm building works. How to get the best price for your calves this spring. Plus, don't miss our guide to CAO changes, agriculture courses and new apprenticeships.
Only inside the Irish Farmers Journal. On sale now.
We often make New Year's resolutions involving healthy eating, only to then break them. Well, at Kelly Centra, they've put together some easy, healthy eating tips, like keeping an eye on your saturated fat intake. It's often tough to cook up a convenient meal that ticks all the health boxes, so why not check out Kelly's range of ready meals, many low in saturated fats and high in flavour. Healthy eating tips from Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny. If you have a job to do over the weekend, Watson Hire have a brilliant weekend hire deal available. Get any item on Friday, keep it until Monday, and only pay for 1 day's hire. That's 3 days hire on any equipment or machinery for the price of one. So there's no excuse to get the job sorted. To book, call Watson Hire in Letterkenny on 9167777.
Discover the new Nissan Ariya. Discover 100% electric. Discover Japanese-inspired design that sets it apart. Discover luxury beyond expectation. Discover innovation like you've never known. Discover smooth acceleration, quiet operation, and advanced technology. Discover it today at Nissan dealers nationwide. The new Nissan Ariya from €43,500. Test drive it today and discover outstanding. Nissan, innovation that excites. Dealer delivery and related charges apply.
For when a right turn becomes a wrong turn. Get up to €70 off car insurance with On Post Insurance at onpostinsurance.ie or call us today. €70 or 20% discount will be applied, whichever is lower, subject to a minimum premium of €355 or €345, depending on policy underwriter. Applied consecutively for new customers only. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. One Direct Ireland Limited, trading as On Post Insurance, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. One Direct Ireland Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of On Post. Best price online.
Please thank all the staff in the Lake House Nursing Home who made it in treacherous conditions. That's coming in from Jennifer. The back road between Drumkeen and the back road to Ron is very dangerous. It's impassable. People should avoid it. And on it goes. Some of these are from earlier in the morning, and I don't want to read them out in case it puts people off journeys. Coming through the Gap, Creasa to Termon yesterday morning at 8:15. The temperature was -3. It's not a fantastic road either, by the way. I was travelling at 65 kilometres per hour. The roads were white with just tracks in the middle. A white car behind me flashed the whole duration of my trip. On straight stretches, I gave this car ample opportunity to pass. They didn't, but continued to sit on my bumper flashing. Now, I'm all for pulling in and letting people pass, but 65 kilometres an hour on a frozen stretch of road need to be mindful that there are anxious drivers, and flashing doesn't really help with the anxiety. And to me, driving any faster would have been reckless. If you're late for work, leave earlier, but I value my safety and that of my colleagues and passengers. Rant over. Yeah, I just wonder sometimes if people engaged in such activity realise that they're actually upsetting another human, you know, with their impatience, that they're actually ruining someone's day. Do people think about that, to think of the consequences of their actions? I wonder. I just checked the register and I can only vote on the presidential elections. I've voted all my life. It's worrying that this is happening. Please, everyone, check the register. Greg, schools are off and I don't see one child playing in the snow in our area. Things have changed so much. When we were kids, we played out all day in the snow. Too pampered now, or too glued to their iPhones. Yeah, indeed. Okay, have you observed that? I've seen on social media loads of images of young ones out enjoying the snow, but maybe we are changing and we're too protective. Greg, can you please highlight a situation at Milford where women and children are walking on the side of the road to get their messages in Milford? This is a very busy road and these people have to walk on about 1 foot of grass and have to come off that grass with signs, etc. All is required to give them somewhere to walk is a 6-inch pipe and a bit of gravel. Yeah, indeed. Okay, I think I know to what you're talking to there. All right, thanks very much for that. Right, now, we're joined by John O'Connell, who's a voluntary director of Steer Housing Association, STEER. Good morning to you, John.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's great to have you on the programme. OK, so Steer, it is an approved housing body. Is it national? Is it local? What kind of properties and what have you is it involved in? And
well, it's Steer's been going for almost 20 years, and we have properties in about 9 counties, mostly in the northern half of the country, and we have quite a number here in Donegal and Letterkenny, Convoy, Buncrana, Ballyshannon, for example. It's a mixture of properties, own door properties, apartment blocks, some duplex accommodation as well. So it's been going for some time.
And you service the local authority housing lists. What is the relationship there? How does that work?
Well, how it works is that if one of our properties becomes vacant, we would be in touch with the local authority in that particular county, and they would give us a name of somebody who's due to get housing, and we'll take them on. Very happy to take them on. We have very few empty properties, and they're empty for less than a few weeks.
So based out of Letterkenny, and you currently manage 216 properties. Like, does Steer own these properties?
No, in most cases, because we're going so long, we have long-term lets or long-term contracts with landlords over the years. Now that model is changing slightly, which is the purpose for why we're looking for new directors. But we have quite a long sort of tenured contracts over the years, and we have long tenured people living there as well.
So presumably you give the landlords the assurance that they have a regular income and that you look after and run the property and ensure that it's not a depreciating asset for them, I presume.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, maintenance would be one of the biggest issues we have. We would have maintenance schedules that are both contractual but also best practice, because we work with the housing regulator, and we need to be able to demonstrate that we're good custodians of the money that we get from the council, and that we provide good quality property as well.
The function of this conversation too is to address changing and rigorous regulatory environment for all housing associations. So you're going to strengthen the board membership, and we'll get to that in a moment. But in terms of how Steer operates and how it might operate into the future, what role do you see Steer having? Is it going to start purchasing houses, or where do you see Steer going, particularly with so much pressure on housing in this country at the moment?
Well, I think first of all, we need to ensure that what we have, we keep and we manage it well. And, the building codes are changing all the time. So, for example, we've had to go in and upgrade fire alarm systems, whatever, to keep up to date. So that's really important. But, as we look down as the leases start to expire. We have an ambition to purchase or build properties in the future. Now that's quite an undertaking. So we need to strengthen our board in order to provide that sort of technical knowledge to do that.
Yeah, so you're looking for people with backgrounds and skills, not limited to, but including governance, finance, property and housing management, risk appraisal, risk management. And these would be volunteers. And I suppose the question is like, what's in it for them?
Well, I think it's like any charitable venture. We like to give back to the community. I think we can all sit on the fence and complain about housing, but let's try and do something about it. We are where we are now through various government policies over the years that has relied very much on the private sector for general housing needs, but also on the charitable sector to provide specific needs for vulnerable families and individuals who also need housing. So I think, as a community, it's the right thing to do. And, people have plenty of skills. They may have, like myself, retired recently and are not prepared just to sit back and put my feet up and put on the slippers. We like to sort of keep involved and give something back to the community.
Do Steer intend growing their portfolio? Like, how would you go about acquiring new properties? I don't need a specific example, but I mean, obviously, there's a limit on properties that are out there and what have you, and that's really the crux of the housing crisis. So at the moment, you manage 216 properties across nine counties. How does that portfolio grow?
Well, how it grows is by looking at opportunities that present themselves. Particularly, we'd like to look at in the Donegal area because, as a legacy, we're probably very widely spread throughout the counties, but we have a specific ambition to look at areas around Donegal, talk to builders, because builders sometimes are in a challenging position that they want to build houses, but the banks won't give them finance. So, somebody like ourselves, we have the ability to source finance, but we need to be able to do that in partnership with either a builder, a developer, landowner, or whatever. So I think that's really what we'd like to do to add to the stock of social housing that's badly needed.
Yeah, and it's very important work that Steer is doing, but is it not doing the work that a properly functioning local authority should be doing? Is this not another layer that really, in an ideal world, shouldn't be there or shouldn't need to be there?
Well, yes, you're correct, Greg. I think in an ideal world, the local authority would have done this in the past. But I think throughout successive governments, it's been felt that, the private market would come in. Now, it has come in, and we can see the effects of that now. But what kind of fell between the cracks would be what I would call social housing for vulnerable individuals or families. And charities have come in, and there's 450 approved housing bodies in Ireland. There may be 20 or 30 in Donegal alone, and they're all doing fabulous work. It could be St. Vincent de Paul, it could be other areas for independent living. So there are various organisations that have a particular interest and passion, which is really good. And in some cases, in a lot of cases, the council are quite happy because they're allowing people who know that area very well to get on with the job. Yeah,
and maybe aren't as constrained as a local authority can often be with all the red tape and regulations and hoops and what
Precisely.
have you. Okay, John, listen, it's a fascinating insight into the work of, the voluntary housing association sector. You're with Steer, of course, director of Steer. You're looking to strengthen the membership of the board. People could have skills in governance, finance, property and housing management, risk appraisal, and risk management, or anything they believe that they might be able to bring to it. I don't think it's a massive time commitment as such, but I suppose it's as much as you wish to put in. If people want more information and just say, well, this might pique my interest, where can they get more information, or who can they speak to, John?
If the email hr@steeringhousing.com, We're advertising on all the local papers as well as with yourselves. So that's HR, all lowercase, HR at steerhousing.com.
Okay, so HR at steerhousing, that's STEERHOUSING.com. If anyone has any doubt about that, they can contact us and we'll be more than happy to pass on that information to them. John, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Greg.
It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much indeed, John. That's John O'Connell there.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
It's the big brand sale at SuperValue, and there's great special offers like selected frozen favourites like Goodfellas Deep Pan Pizza and Donegal Catch Fish Fingers, any 3 for €8, exclusive to Real Rewards members only. Plus, get money off vouchers every week on the app. So don't miss our big brand sale and pop in store or online for great savings at SuperValue. T's and C's apply.
Winter sale now on at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms. 10% off all purchases for a limited period. T's and C's apply. See in store. Book a free consultation today in our Donegal Town showroom on 074 97 25 822. Luxury kitchens and bedrooms at affordable prices. Expect more and get more at Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
Hyundai's big offers continue at Hyundai dealerships nationwide. Test drive the 2024 Hyundai range, including the all-new Kona, Ireland's best-selling car, the Tucson, and winners of World Car of the Year, the Ioniq 5 and the Ioniq 6. Avail of the big selection of offers when you book your Hyundai 241 model. Hyundai, a class apart.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 9122 600.
Did you know that Borg is the Irish word for hug? Not only that, Borg is also the name of a little teddy bunny who lives at the Ronald McDonald House at Crumlin Hospital. This year, families of 6 children staying at the Ronald McDonald House are asking you to send someone special a Borg Hug Bunny. And in return, you'll be entered into a competition to win a holiday worth €5,000. So go on, send a hug and maybe win a holiday this week at rmhc.ie.
Highland Radio time checks with Expressway. Travel Route 32 from Letterkenny to Dublin when you book online and travel for less. Expressway, bringing you the time at...
The time's 11:19. Now, it's very positive that Lyme's disease is getting the platform it is on Coronation Street. There's a young character in it that's been showing symptoms here and there. They were taken to hospital last night, and this is how things unfolded in terms of the diagnoses.
It was when you told me that his symptoms started after he'd been camping.
What's Lyme disease?
It's caused by a tick, usually found in grasslands, and a percentage of the ticks carry the disease.
We did an MRI and blood tests and couldn't find anything abnormal, but when Dr. Gaddis suggested Lyme, we examined his scalp and found a large circular rash that looks like a bullseye.
Which sometimes can be found after a tick bite.
But it can't be a tick bite. I would have seen it. I brushed his hair just last week when he was poorly.
They drop off after 2 to 3 days, but by that time, the infection has already entered the system. And the symptoms look like flu or like growing pains in children. So it's very easy to misdiagnose.
But if missed, it can spread to the central nervous system, which I suspect is what's happened to Joseph.
So if it is Lyme disease, I mean, what happens next?
We're going to do a blood test called an ELISA, and we should get the results pretty quickly. But because of his symptoms and the rash, I suspect it's going to be positive. So we're going to start the relevant treatment straight away.
And what does that involve? Will he be able to walk again?
We're going to give him intravenous antibiotics. And yes, usually the damage is totally reversible.
Usually?
I mean, nothing's 100%, but I have cause to be very hopeful.
And on it goes. Now, we've discussed Lyme's disease on this programme for years now, and what my experience of it is that firstly, people are not getting diagnosed. They're going to the GPs or whatever, and through perhaps a lack of information, and because they are general practitioners, they're told it's everything under the sun bar what it is. And even in the Dáil, it's been somewhat dismissed. Now, a lot of people have to go to England at great expense or go and get blood tests in Germany. And then what do they do with the blood tests or the diagnosis if it's confirmed? Unless it's changed, there's one consultant effectively in Dr. Lambert, who's been a regular guest on this programme as well, who will engage and prescribe the antibiotics. Also, the information as it relates to the rash, it's not always present. Does it last that long? I don't know. But also this experience, and maybe it's the way it is in Britain, but this experience of, oh, well, it could be that. There's a blood test. That's what it is. We're starting you on antibiotics. You're going to fully recover. Most people do. Again, not the experience, especially I think with later diagnoses. But anyway, that's my take on it from what I've been dealing with it on this programme. Peter Patton joins me on the programme now. Peter, who has or had, I don't know how you phrase it, Peter, Lyme's disease. So I suppose on the first instance, it's good that it's being talked about. But my word, if anyone in Ireland thinks that this is how things are going to work for them, they could be in for a shock.
Good morning, Greg. Exactly, you're correct there, because I was to hell and back when I had it, and there was no help out there. And I got all the tests of the day done, both in Letterkenny and Sligo Hospital, and I was tested twice for Lyme's disease, including a lumbar puncture. And nothing, it all came back negative. While I had all the symptoms of Lyme's, there was nothing shown in this country here. And it's only then we realised through other people then that Ireland was just 70% accurate in diagnosing Lyme's. Now, while the powers that be would argue differently, that it is accurate, I know from experience that I spent 4 years of real tough life.
How long did it take before you actually received a blood test for Lyme's disease?
I took on well on September 2015, and by October 16, we had found out about Armin Labs in Germany. Mm-hmm. And it was a simple blood test that it was posted by DHL on the Monday or the Tuesday, and by the following week, the bloods were back. And the bloods were showing 2,000 and 3,000 points over of where they should have been at.
So what did you do with those results from Armin Labs then? Where did you take them?
We took them up to Letterkenny Hospital. It was plain and black and white what I had. And that was 2016, up to a consultant.
But they wouldn't accept, would they? Sorry, Peter, I just because I know this is your lived experience, but I want to make sure that I and the listeners follow this journey with you. So you have results from Germany, Armin Labs, with the pointers so high that it's clear that you've got bacteria in your blood, that this should indicate Lyme disease. Were they accepted as blood results to start a treatment program for you, or were they ignored in your view?
They were totally ignored because I never heard from the hospital after that. When I left the results up, I never heard from the hospital after it. And it was in plain black and white. And it wasn't just borderline over. It was 3,000 points over of where the bloods should have been at.
So and that's 2016, is it?
That was 2016.
So tell us about your symptoms at this point and what you were doing next.
The fatigue. Well, it started off with the rash and between my shoulder blades, and then about a week later, then I just thought it was a flu, like a bad flu, and then the aches and pains started in the joints, and the fingers were like needles and pins, and the headache, and while you couldn't keep your eyes open with fatigue, you couldn't go to sleep either. Whatever way it affected the brain, it was all. I know a lot more about it, but it was all down to inflammation of the brain and the joints that caused all these aches and pains and nerve pain.
So you effectively, and again, unfortunately, this has been the experience of so many people I've spoken to, you were told, were you, that this was in your head, that there's something wrong with your brain, that you're not thinking straight?
No, the recommended psychiatric assessment that I was taken up a bed in the hospital that somebody really needed. And I was confined to the house at that stage. I couldn't, if I got down on the sofa, somebody had to pull me up. I just couldn't get up off the sofa and be helped out of the bed.
At what point
was that?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, you're on about the pain. I just want to know then when did you hear about Dr. Lambert down in Dublin? Because I don't know what it's like now, but not incredibly popular because, going against the grain, accepting the results from Germany and what have you, probably a little bit of distrust of our testing system in this country. So at what time did you engage with Lambert? And I'm sure he took one look at you and knew it was Lyme's. Am I wrong?
Oh, absolutely, because Dr. Lambert really wasn't interested in seeing you unless you had the results of your bloods done in Germany. He went with them. He didn't go with any test that was done in Ireland. He went with the test that's done in Germany. And October 16, I got the diagnosis, and I started the treatment then with Dr. Lambert then on October 16 for 2 solid years of antibiotics. And for the first 6 months, it was going nowhere. But then gradually the headaches started to ease and the nerve pain started settling, and I know that turned the corner then at that stage. But it took a further 2 years after that before I could say I'm 85 to 90% better. I don't know if you'll ever get over the 100%.
How's it affected any of your other organs? Your heart, your kidney. Do your bloods return normal at this point, or are you still getting strange peaks and troughs?
The brain fog would be the biggest issue. That's always seems to be there to a certain extent, but everything else has settled down pretty well. You do be tired there. If you put on a long day, you definitely do feel it for a day or two after, but you keep on going, Greg,
Yeah, and so, as I say, I don't want to be overly negative. People are hearing about Lyme's disease for the first time, but as I say, I don't recognise how it's being presented in Britain. You could hear in the conversation that we played out earlier on, they're trying to go through all the hit lists of stuff. Do you know what I mean? But that's just not what it's like here.
That's not what it's like here. We had a Lyme's group set up here in Donegal, and people got to know us, and mothers ringing about their children that had presented with a rash to their GP, because at that stage there was a bit out there about Lyme's disease and the harm it can do. And there was a certain woman, she came back to me, and the GP prescribed cream for the rash. And when you see the rash, it's in the World Health Organization that they recommend at least 6 weeks of antibiotics. And there was other cases where children was putting antibiotics just for 2 weeks. That's at your grand now. But you're far from grand. If you've the rash shown there's a very high probability that has gone into your bloodstream and you're heading down a bad road.
Would it be familiar for the bullseye rash to stay? Now, it's not always present, but is it usual that it sticks around for as long as they're making out in this programme that it does? Because that wouldn't have been my understanding either.
No, only, as far as my rash hung about for about 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Yeah, you see, I'm just wondering now if people don't see a rash, they might go, "Oh, well, it's not that." I think you have to be careful with this type of programming.
Yes. We've campaigned in Dublin to try to get more awareness of it, but we're just flogging a dead horse.
Sure, there was a motion passed. There was a motion passed in the council years ago at this stage to have signs erected in certain parts of Donegal where it's believed that these infectious ticks are likely to be, so that parents are aware that they can check their kids, pull any ticks out that might be there, get antibiotics early on if need be. I don't think those signs ever went up, Peter. I don't know why not, but it was a motion that was passed. Did they go up?
They did, as far as I know, they didn't go up, because I was out in Glenveigh and I seen no signs there. And we weren't out looking to put up signs to scare tourism away or nothing like that. This is a harmful tick. If it's on you in the morning, check yourself in the evening, pull the tick out. That's it. But if the tick gets staying on you for a number of hours or a couple of days and this rash appears, well then you're in serious trouble. But we were never out to scare away tourism. We were out to make people aware, but it never happened. It all fell on deaf ears.
All right. Well, listen, at the very least, we've got an opportunity to talk about it again today, because even when I posted about this yesterday, there was an individual who was being told that, my impression I got from her comment, that she believes it is Lyme's, but she was being sent for tests for other stuff as well. You know, so I think every day there's people going through what you went through in 2015, 2016, Peter, banging the head off a brick wall. It's everything but Lyme's, it seems. That's often the attitude.
It mimics 200 other diseases, Lyme's. So it's very hard, unless you have a very accurate diagnosis, and Armin Labs is worldwide accredited for testing for Lyme's, but yet there's consultants here that don't want to know about it if you've a black and white in front of you from Armin Labs, and it's disappointing. We only set out to make ourselves better again, not to, I don't know what word you could find, not to abuse the system or not.
No, but the sooner the antibiotics are applied, the better the chance of reversing any organ damage or whatever it might be. One other thing, obviously we know this is not the lived experience in Ireland. Have you had any contact with anyone in Britain, Peter? Because they, as I say, you can sort of tell the way they're scripted, that they go through the hit list of stuff with these support groups. In Britain, is this seen as an accurate representation and useful in the show? Do you know, Peter? Maybe you don't know. We know it's not in Ireland, but is it accurate in Britain?
Well, we were told a way back that Britain's pretty close to Ireland on diagnosing Lyme's, and that's why we were sent to Armin, that they were better than Britain. I'm not saying Britain's worse than Ireland, and maybe they're better, but certainly we were recommended to go to Armin Labs anyway, Greg.
Brilliant, Peter. Listen, thanks for your time. I'm glad that you're 95% or 90% better. I wish it were 100%, but look, you got there in the end, and I'm sure you're like many others that have dealt with Dr. Lambert. You'd hold him up in very high regard for getting you back to where you're at.
Only for Dr. Lambert and my good wife. I'll be in a wheelchair.
She deserves a mention too, Peter. What's her name?
Michelle
Patton. What an angel. Okay, fair play to you.
Thank you, Greg.
Bye-bye, Peter.
So much.
It's important. You helped us in coming on. Caller says, who actually surprised that the health service in Ireland is inferior to that of UK. You see, well, according to Peter there, it might not even be a fair representation of how the disease is identified and diagnosed over there.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook and at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
The world is getting a little more. But maybe more could mean something else. More means more proactive green energy solutions. More means more wind turbines and more recycling. More means more biodiversity and more energy storage. More means more hydrogen and more solar farms, because more clean energy means more efficient living, means more thriving communities, means more energy autonomy. That's why we're more than Mona. Learn more at morethanmona.ie. Board Mona.
Big news! The Centra Big Brand Sale is now on, with big savings on the big brand names you love, like Dairy Gold Spread 454 gram only €2, Aresti Estate Selected Range €8 each, and Centra Fresh Irish Lamb Leg 1.2 kilo only $9.99. So shop smart, feel good. Centra, live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors, serving Letterkenny and the surrounding areas for over 100 years. Charlie McClafferty Funeral Directors. Let our family take care of your family and guide you through a difficult time.
Easy Living Furniture's biggest ever winter sale is on, but ends Sunday. This is your last chance to avail of these amazing discounts. Absolutely everything reduced across sofa, dining, bedroom, mattress, and accessories. It's the furniture you want at amazing winter sale prices. Winter sale ends Sunday at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park.
Watson Menswear's big January sale is now on, in store and online, with great discounts across top names in menswear, like Andre, Tom Penn and Rimazumo. Also big savings on Superdry, Penguin and Tommy Bow footwear. Don't miss out on some great bargains in the big January sale now on at Watson Menswear, Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com.
Now, the Shandon Hotel and Spa are hosting empowerment workshops with Miranda Rosenberger. The workshops are taking place at the Shandon Hotel and Spa. Miranda joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you. How are you getting on?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you again. Right, okay, so empowerment workshops. What is empowerment? How are we empowered?
I will tell you how you're empowered. I teach very practical steps to help you help yourself. Because I can't fix you. You can't come to a 2-hour workshop and then walk away going, I'm fixed. That's not my job. My job is to give you all the tools so that you are empowered to help yourself.
When we talk about self-image, which is the focus on Sunday, the 28th of January, it's not necessarily, is it about us beautifying ourselves? Is it accepting us for who we are? Or maybe it's a combination of both. I don't know. You tell me, Miranda, you're the expert.
It's a little bit more complex than that, sir. So your self-image is your overall perception of yourself, your overall picture. And that includes not just how you look, but it's an assessment of your skills, talents, abilities, your self-esteem, your self-confidence, all of those things. And sometimes when we look at the picture we have of ourselves, we're unhappy. There'll be components that we want to change. And I teach the steps to change those things. So if you feel as if your self-confidence is lagging, there are very practical steps that you can take in order to improve that.
Because sometimes, like, I presume I'm pretty normal, but, you know, sometimes you look at yourself in the mirror, right? And you go, oh, my God. And nothing has changed. And the next day you might look at the mirror and you go, man, you know what? You're not so bad. You know, that's your mind playing tricks on you, isn't it?
It's subjective. It's so subjective. It's depending on how you're feeling that day, what values that you hold you're prioritizing that day. It has to do with how healthy you're feeling at any given moment. Like, we are whole people. We can't say, oh, I'm only going to invest in fixing my self-confidence today and not think about all the other things that are going on in your body at the same time. We're whole people. We have to address our whole selves.
So you want people to walk out of the event on the 28th of January, you know, with the shoulders back a bit more, metaphorically speaking. You know, are you hoping to have that type of an impact and tool people up to be able to work on themselves?
My goal is for people to walk out of that workshop going, right, I can take control of how I feel about myself and how I engage with the world. Mm-hmm. I will have a deeper understanding of who I am, why I do the things I do, and why I think about myself the way that I think about myself. Because I tell you what, there's nothing worse in the world than when somebody is lacking in self-confidence or self-esteem and someone says, well, just be confident. Or if you're depressed, they go, just snap out of it. There's nothing worse. Give someone the tools in order to do that. And that's what this is.
Because life can grind you down, can't it? You know, even with the best spirit in the world, you know, if you have things going your way or certain people in your life or whatever it might be, you know what life throws up at us, it can grind you down. That, you know, maybe you do need to build yourself back up again.
You do. And even if you don't feel ground down, even if you are just feeling a little bit insecure or just feeling a little bit out of sorts, everybody can benefit from learning how to augment their self-image, because then you feel so much better in your own skin when you do. And we all need that.
Yeah. On Sunday, the 25th of January, you focus on self-confidence. Is there, like, you know, if these were two circles, is there a bit of an overlap in there? But this is obviously a separate event. But I mean, they're not two necessarily completely standalone issues or topics.
Well, you are correct. So when we talk about our self-image, it's our overall picture of ourselves. And when I teach self-image that I'm teaching in January, it's more about how do we augment our overall picture. Self-confidence, I get a bee in my bonnet. I've said before, nothing burns my biscuits more than when people confuse what self-confidence is with self-esteem. And you can't fix what you don't know. Like, if you don't understand cars, you can't fix it. If you don't know what self-confidence is, you can't fix it. And the difference is this. Your self-esteem is how you value yourself. Are you lovable? Are you worthy? Are you good enough? That's subjective. You can feel differently every day. But your self-confidence, that is your faith or belief in your skills, abilities, or talents. That's fact-based. Can I brush my teeth? Yes. Well, then I have confidence in I have faith or belief in my ability to brush my teeth. And the question is, if you're feeling a lack of confidence in any domain of your life or overall a lack of confidence, how can you build that up? And again, there's very practical, non-fluffy steps to that. Because I really, really also hate when people do that. You should just feel better. Oh, you just deserve to be loved. Maybe you don't. You could be a horrible person. I don't know. But what I can do is teach you how to build up your self-confidence.
Yeah, and I think too in the day in itself is you seem to be designing it too, whereby it's a day for someone to sort of maybe switch out a little bit. It's a bit of a day for themselves. On arrival, the reception and that afternoon tea and what have you. You want it to be a full experience.
It is because, we've talked before about in my former life, I worked with vulnerable populations.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with survivors of domestic violence. I worked with people who were in crisis, people recovering from addiction. And those settings are quite stark. Whereas I wanted an event where you can invest in your mental, emotional, and physical self-care. Mm-hmm. So you come, you feed your body, you feed your mind, and you improve how you feel about yourself.
All right.
Yeah,
no, there's a cost to it, €55 per person per workshop. There's morning refreshments, afternoon tea. There are options there as well if you want to throw in a thermal suite, 1.5 hours in the thermal suite, or even indeed if you wanted to go all out and stay overnight in the Shandon, which is it's a lovely hotel, actually, a beautiful setting as well. So people can invest in themselves as much as they see fit. How do people get more information, Miranda?
They can go to the Shandon's website. Everything's listed there, or any of my socials. Miranda Rosenberg on Google will take you to any of my socials, or Homestead Donegal, because that's my social media page.
Lovely stuff. And what's the format of it then? Are you all gonna? I presume it is open. Is it like men, women, whoever, or is it targeting women, or what's the story?
Everything I teach is accessible to all. I don't care who you are. As long as you want to improve your picture of yourself, you come to one of my workshops. And you know what? I'm not just offering these. Come tomorrow. So on Friday, I will be listing a whole slew of online workshops as well.
All right, good stuff.
If you can't make it into the Shandon, I'll teach you online.
Right. Well, listen, best of luck with it. Thanks so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Good wishes to you. That's Miranda there. Go to the ShandonHotelSpa.com for more information there. 08660 25,000. I have a bucket of comments. So many comments, actually. It's crazy. It's great. It's fantastic. I'm going to start getting to those. Oh, by the way, if you watched it on YouTube, you might have had a disruption to your service because I think they didn't like me playing out a bit of Coronation Street. They might have thought I was trying to live stream it. It's amazing, the technology. 2 minutes of Coronation Street and it's like, don't be at that crack. Well, anyway, listen, it was important to frame the conversation. So if you are watching on YouTube, my apologies. That's why, because you're probably wondering, what did he do? What did he say? It's just because there's little notes in songs and TV programs, what have you, that flag for copyright. So that's the reason.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
If you're getting married, the in-house design team at BizPrint can get all your wedding stationery and signage needs customised to your requirements. Just visit weddinginvites.ie or call BizPrint at Port Road, Letterkenny on 9177955.
Is that the new Opel?
Yes, of course.
Does it really look that good?
Yes, of course.
Is it fun to drive?
Yes, of course.
Is it packed with smart tech?
Yes, of course.
Can I test drive it right now at Manor Motors Opel?
Yes, of course.
The new Opel Corsa, now available. Hybrid and electric coming soon. See manormotors.ie for details.
If you need a new laptop, enjoy super fast performance and seamless multitasking with Avita laptops at Ben Sweeney Euronics. Vita laptops are equipped with advanced processors and ample RAM, so they handle everything from work to entertainment with ease. They come with a 2-year warranty, and prices starting at only €449. For more details, pop in and see us at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Backstage Bar and Grill is open for breakfast, lunch and dinner 7 days a week. If you're looking for healthy options this January, we have a great selection of delicious salads, sandwiches and more. Call Century Complex on 074 91 219 76 to book your table.
Don't miss the BAFTA award-winning comedian Michael McIntyre's brand new show, Magnificent, at the SSE Arena Belfast on Friday the 31st of May 2024. As always, Highland Radio make it easy for you as we look after all your needs. We will provide luxury transfers, overnight stay at the Clayton Hotel Belfast on a B&B basis, your ticket to the show, shopping time in Belfast City Centre. For more information, go to the outlet at highlandradio.com or give us a call on 074 91 25000. Michael McIntyre in Belfast.
Highland Radio weather updates brought to you by Grant. Building a new home? Choose Grant's A++ rated Airona air to water heat pump and Uflex underfloor heating. Visit grant.ie.
Radio, let's have a look at that weather forecast. It hasn't changed since the last time I read it. It's going to be cold today, and there's going to be some sleet or snow showers in the north of the region. Right, we're joined on the programme now by Mary Daly, Tourism Development Officer with Donegal County Council. Good morning, Mary.
Hello, Greg. Good morning.
Great
How are
to
you?
see you. Good to have you on the show. Right, okay, there's an event coming up on the 24th of January at the Silver Tassie Hotel in Letterkenny. What's it about and who's it for?
Okay, Greg. Well, just to briefly tell you, I suppose Donegal County Council and Donegal Tourism are delighted to announce our first trade event of the year. And as you said, it takes place next Wednesday in the Silver Tassie, just outside Letterkenny. And it's Beyond the Stage is the title, and it's really for festival and events and organisers. It's a festival and events Insights Day, and you have the opportunity to come along and gain some valuable information to evaluate your festival and also speak to your peers, speak to other people in the county. Like, as you know, festival and events are a vital offering in the calendar of events of Donegal, so they're very important. So this is a unique opportunity for people to come along and to meet people on the day, to find out vital information, but also just to, I suppose, network with other festival and events and pick up, little nuggets of information as well and how other people do it. And
I think sometimes, there are quite a lot of streams of funding out there from different sources and what have you. And the ones that get it right and know the system because they're successful annually, and fair play to them. Don't get me wrong, I don't see that in any way as a negative. But for some, sort of going through that process might seem a little bit overwhelming, or maybe they're not even aware of funding sources that might suit their event or not. So there's information in that regard as well too during this event.
Absolutely. As you say, it can be difficult for people to navigate the funding streams that are available and to be aware of them, as you said. So yes, this is a unique opportunity for people to come along. We have people like on the day, we have Colm Coffey from IFA. IFA is the Association of Irish Festival and Events. He'll come along and he's going to give some valuable advice in relation to, I suppose, value for money marketing, which is very important for festivals, I suppose, to get, as much as they can for every euro that they spend on marketing. Also finding new audiences and reimagining events, because sometimes events have become maybe a little bit stagnant. They're running in such a way for a number of years. So it's no harm to kind of maybe reinvent the wheel a little bit and, look at other options, or even to broaden, your festival remit. So he'll be coming along. Also, we have, as you said, in terms of funding, funding advice. We have someone from Fáilte Ireland coming along, and they're going to give advice from the funders. So in relation to funding your festival from Fáilte Ireland, we'll also have our own Marion Callahan from Donegal County Council, and Marion administers our festival fund every year. So Marion will go through the application process and the dates, and just in relation to actually dealing with the application. Then we're going to have a panel discussion, and it's kind of the ups and downs of festival management, and it's from people on the ground. So we'll have the likes of Colm Coffey again from IFA will be involved in this. We have Thomas Costello from the Aaronmore Festival. It'll be moderated by Daniel Brown, and of course Daniel is involved with C-Sessions, and I'm also going to sit on the panel, and I'm a director of Ballyshannon Folk and Traditional Music Festival. So I suppose we're going to try and go through the ups and downs of festival management. There'll also be kind of roundtable discussions, and then there'll be an opportunity for one-to-one clinics. So if you want to come along and you want to sit down with Fáilte Ireland and actually go through, what funding is available to me as a festival organizer. So it's an opportune time. It's January. People now are looking ahead at the rest of the year, looking at their events, looking at their funding. Now is the time that people are booking artists. So, this is a good time, and it's really, and I think as well, the most important thing as well, Greg, it will give people an opportunity to network with their peers.
Yeah, that's a critical part of it, all right. It's a free event. Absolutely. It runs from 10:30 till 2 p.m, so it's not a huge time commitment in people's busy lives. Can you just roll up on the day? Do you need to pre-register, Mary, or what's the situation?
No, you need to pre-register, Greg, because obviously places are limited, and quite a lot of the places, as you can imagine, are gone.
Yeah.
So I would advise people to please pre-register. You can do so on Eventbrite. Now you can search just Beyond the Stage is the title of the event. So you can search that on Eventbrite and then register, or you can go into Donegal Tourism's LinkedIn account and you'll see the link to the Eventbrite on that. So you can do that. It'll finish up with a light lunch. And again, that's an opportunity to chat with people around you, chat with people, see what's working for some people and maybe how you could adopt that into your festival and stuff like that. So I would urge people, festival and events, the page on our website on Go Visit Donegal, Greg, is one of the most viewed pages on our website. So it really, people are looking at our festival and events. They do give people a reason to come to different areas. Also, I suppose it's really very important for the local economy, but also the local offering in terms of the calendar of events in your area as well, and something to go to.
And people looking to visit the area from inside the country,
Absolutely.
inside the county, try and start planning now. All right. Yeah,
and
go ahead.
I know as someone involved in a festival that, people travel to your festival. They might come to your festival for 3 days, but they are spending time in the county and they're going to other areas as well. So these events are very important. And this is why we felt this year that we would start off in January and we would offer this out to the trade and, give people an opportunity to sit down with the people that really that they need to be speaking to.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. You get the ears of those with the influence. All right, Mary Daly, Tourism Development Officer with Donegal County Council, thank you very much for your time. That's Beyond the Stage. It's next Wednesday in the Silver Tassie Hotel, Letterkenny. Starts at 10:30. It's a free event, but you have to register. Go to Eventbrite or check out their LinkedIn page and so on and so forth. Right, all the children in our park are out playing in the snow in Buncrana. It's great to see. Lovely, isn't that nice? It's you remember those things when you get older. You remember? Do you remember that year where we all got off school and it was snowing and we all went out and played? I lost my husband 5 years ago in an accident. My daughter started counselling before COVID and she's only getting back to it now. They're going to take it away again now when she needs it. She's only 13. She's really grieving. She was along with her dad when he died in the accident. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. The government don't realise how badly that these services are needed. They take away everything that we need. Well, listen, as much as I can say, rest assured, the services aren't going to go. I don't think at this point, with the publicity, with the commitments from certain people, you've enough to go through. grieving the loss of your husband, worrying about your child as well. There are organisations, and maybe if someone's listening, and I'm not sure if I interviewed someone last year, and it was young people who chat to young people about bereavement. And I just can't remember who it is. I wonder, would you be interested in maybe some contact details on that? I'll chat to Caroline afterwards. And if you are interested, give us a call back, because I don't know if I have your number or not. But it was a network or something where young people who had been bereaved spoke to other young people. And we try our best, and counsellors try their best. But I think maybe if young people can speak to each other as well. Again, I try and remember everything, but it's very difficult to do so. But those services, I really don't think they can go now at this point, so please don't worry about that for your daughter. And also, I'm going to try and rack my brains and others to see if we can come up with the details of that bereavement initiative. I can't remember quite what it was. I'm so sorry to read that. I hadn't read that before I read it first on air. Okay, listen, that's where we have to leave it on the show today. Thank you so much for all of your contributions and just listening or watching or whatever you do. It's great to have you on board. I really do appreciate it. We do appreciate it. It's not me, it's a full team here. Oh, it's a wee team, me, Caroline and Shannon. Well, back tomorrow morning. It's Friday again. We have the Friday panel. We've got a Friday panel lined up, of course, to discuss the big issues of the day. If you want a topic suggested as well, please, we do listen to you. You can WhatsApp or text in, and we'll see if we can get around to it. We've got That's Entertainment too, when we ease our way into the weekend between 11 and 12, and we've Fanula and Michael back. And then there's plenty to keep you occupied between 10 and 11 as well. So please